friends and colleagues at this most tiring time. A condolence book has been opened in the office of the clerk on the first floor of the main parliamentary buildings for members and staff who wish to convey their condolences to the family and friends. Honorable Senators, on behalf of all senators and the entire staff of Parliament, and indeed on my own behalf, I wish to take this opportunity to condole with the family of Mrs. Ajibodu, parliamentary staff, and all her friends in this most difficult time. The Parliament of Kenya has indeed lost a diligent and committed staffer. Honorable Senators, in honor of departed staffer, I request that we all stand and observe a minute of silence. Thank you. You may be seated. May the soul of the late Mrs. Maria Elizabeth Ajibodu rest in eternal peace. Okay. Next order, Clerk. Honorable Senators, I will allow now we need to agree that we restrict time, because I know if not all of you, many of you would wish to say a word of condolence, and therefore I will restrict 2 minutes per person. We'll start with the leader of majority.
Thank you, Speaker, for indulging us. This is a very sad day indeed for the Senate. Mr. Speaker, of course, when the news broke out this morning, it took a while for it to sink to many of us who have... Did I lose the mic? It took a while, Mr. Speaker, for those of us that have served with Maria over the years in this House to come to terms with the fact that we now have to speak about her in past tense, Mr. Speaker. This sounds, looks, has all the descriptions of a bad dream, Mr. Speaker, that somebody I sat 10 meters away from yesterday, looking fully energetic, served us well here in the House, is no more. Reminds us, Mr. Speaker, of the frailty of life and how the fact that, just like a candle, we can easily be switched off. We celebrate Maria, very humble lady, Mr. Speaker, I say this, having served as a chairperson of staff welfare for the 5 years, interacting with many of our staffers here in Parliament, knowing each of their giftings, their backgrounds, you would never know that she comes from one of the most respected families in the country, Mr. Speaker. But to easily keep her calm, serve senators and members of staff equally, and respect everybody that sought her services. The Senate is all the more poorer, Mr. Speaker, right now because of her absence from now going forward. We join the rest of the staffers of Parliament, together with you, Mr. Speaker, in passing a word of condolences to her immediate family and friends, and hope that God will grant us the fortitude to bear this loss. Rest in peace, our dear Sister Mariam. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Enoch.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also want to take this opportunity to console with the family of our late friend and actually colleague, Maria. To me, Mr. Speaker, for some reason, I just learned of those news like 30 minutes ago. So the reality is still sinking. The Speaker, Maria is a lady that served with distinction. A committed staffer, very amiable. I called her our daughter because of our origins. As the Speaker, through you and the office of the clerk, I want to pass my condolences to the staff of Parliament, and especially those who served the clerk's table with Maria, the director and colleagues. We say poleni. The Speaker, as the news sinks, then as a Senate, we shall all unite to give Maria a decent and befitting farewell. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Boni. Boni, Senator.
Mr. Speaker, you have just broken the news to me. In fact, I was shocked when you mentioned her name. This is a lady, Mr. Speaker, who joined Parliament when she was a young person. When I was a young person, you would never have known that Maria was the daughter of Modi Awori. My special condolences to Ango Muti and the rest of the family. Fare thee well, my sister.
Senator Sotsi.
Mr. Speaker, I join my colleagues to send my sincere condolences to the family of Maria for the untimely death of one of our most dedicated staffers here in the Senate. I actually spoke to her yesterday when she was seated there, and this morning I was very shocked to hear that she's no more. This clearly demonstrates that life is a gift and it can be turned off anytime. So I pray for the family, the Honorable Mudi Awori's family, at this morning time, so that God gives them strength to endure the pain of the loss of one of our very great personalities in this Senate.
Senator Chute. Senator Nyutu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also rise to join my colleagues in expressing my deepest condolences to the family of Maria, and indeed her most or the closest colleagues that they worked with. Mr. Speaker, this is a lady that was very composed. That is not to mean that our colleagues who wear blue are not composed as her. A very composed lady, very serious with her job and duties, Mr. Speaker. And just like Senator Osotsi has said, this is a lesson to all of us. That death can knock on the door of anyone, anytime. And though we may not preach in the Senate, but that then we need to be sure of our destiny, Mr. Speaker, anytime that we live. So I do not want to take much time, but say that indeed this is a great loss to us as a Senate, to the staff, especially led by the clerk, we say, may God rest her soul in eternal peace. Thank you.
Senator Muma.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to join yourself and the entire family of the Senate in passing sincere condolences to the family of Maria, especially Uncle Moody, who was the father and a very close friend of Maria. Mr. Speaker, yesterday I attended the speaker's panel. Maria was there. She did not look sick. And we came to the house, and I know I saw her with a mask. I think she had a bit of a flu. And this morning, I went off to Habitat. And while I was trying to register at the Gigiri, that's when I got the news that she had passed. Of course, she passed yesterday, but the news came out to the wider community today. Mr. Speaker, I am personally devastated. Maria has been hand-holding me in terms of learning the ropes in the Senate, not alone, but with the rest of the team. And she has been a friend. Beyond that, I knew Maria, her daughter Shade went to school, was a classmate of my daughter. And her sister-in-law, Marcia Wari, is a good friend of mine. So I feel the loss, and I know it is extremely devastating to the Awori family and to her husband. And I wish to ask that we continue praying for the family and put them before God. May her soul rest in peace. Thank you.
Senator Chirange.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On my own behalf and on behalf of my family and the people of Nandi, I want to take this opportunity to pass my deepest condolences, Mr. Speaker, sir. Yesterday, our sister was here, and although she was wearing a mask, she looked okay. And I was shocked in the morning to receive the sad news that she is no longer with us. Mr. Speaker, sir, coincidentally, the statement I brought about the MCS yesterday is Maria. I had intended to bring it as a motion, but we went and sat with her, and she took me through the entire process and advised me that it should have been better to come a statement to receive the necessary attention. For us who have worked with her, she was always composed, respectful to all the members. Mr. Speaker, she ensured that she was stickler to the parliamentary procedures. We looked upon her most of the time for consultation in terms of what we intended to present before the House. Mr. Speaker, I remember whenever you pass around the offices of parliamentary staff here in Senate, she was always standing, moving from one desk to another, trying to make things in order. So it is shocking that we have lost her. We have lost an epitome of experience in this House. My condolences to the clerk and the rest of the staff. Mr. Speaker, and I think it is important as a House, and I had brought this attention, that going into the future, I'm not saying our staff are not well catered for, but as a House and through the Parliamentary Service Commission, we must endeavor to ensure the welfare of our staff who work with us are always our top priority alongside ours. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, and poleni sana to the family.
Senator Ledama.
Mr. Speaker, my deepest condolences to you, the clerk. This clerk table will never be the same again. I remember Maria very well. At any time when I'm in doubt, whenever I need clarity, I would always approach her and I'll ask her, and she would be first to be able to guide me correctly. Mr. Speaker, her death reminds me, and it ought to remind all of us, that we are all passing through. There's a lot that is happening in this country, Mr. Speaker. Families are going through a very hard time. People are falling. And I think it's about time that we ask ourselves what is going on. Today it has hit so close to us. That's why in the entire Parliament precinct there is a somber mood. I walked into the Secretariat's offices and everyone is sad. We're sad because we have lost someone very close to us. I do hope that for the time that she has served this country, because being here as a clerk, a principal clerk, having started from being a personal assistant, she has learned a lot, and most of us will miss her agility and dedication to service, something that we must learn. Today is a very sad day, and I hope that her family will know that the family here in the Senate, whether we debate vigorously or what, that we condone with them, and that their joy and their tears we share with them. I pray that may God receive her soul and rest it in eternity. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mungatana.
Bwana Spika, ningependa kuchukua nafasi hii kutoa salamu zangu pamoja na familia yangu na watu wa Tana River za rambirambi kwa jamaa na marafiki wa familia hii ya Senate. Sisi tukiwa hapa, sisi ni wachache, lakini Mwenyezi Mungu kwa mipango yake ametuondolea mmoja wetu katika familia hii. Saa ingine hatuna majibu kwa maswali, manake kuna wale wengine ambao ni wengi zaidi, hatusemi angechagua kule, lakini ni wengi zaidi kushinda huku, lakini Mwenyezi Mungu aliona achukue mmoja wetu. Tunasema pole kwa sisi sote, haswa wale ambao walikuwa wanafanya kazi karibu na yeye. Pili, Bwana Spika, natoa pia rambirambi zangu kwa familia ya makamu wetu wa rais wa zamani, Mzee Mudi Waori, ambaye tulifanya kazi na yeye. Tunasema pole sana, kwa sababu sisi ambao ni wazazi mara nyingi huwa hatuombi na hatutarajii ya kwamba watoto wetu watatembea kwenda mbele ya haki kabla sisi. Kwa hivyo tunasema pole sana kwa mzee, pole sana kwa familia, poleni sisi sote. Mungu atupe nguvu kwa wakati huu mgumu, atupatie neema tuweze kupitia wakati huu. Asante Bwana Spika.
Senator Sifuna.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me join the rest of my colleagues in passing my condolences to the family of the late Maria. Mr. Speaker, every now and then, life will serve us these little reminders that, in fact, life itself is very fickle. The office of a clerk and our colleagues here will remember that just early this year, we lost another colleague in similar circumstances. That we could be here today with you, and the very next day it is the Speaker making that communication about me. And it really raises difficult questions in our minds, Mr. Speaker, on the meaning of all this. I mean, sometimes we ask ourselves, why are we even here? And what is our purpose? But that Maria was working in the service of the Senate and in the service of our country until the very last day is testament to her dedication. And we just want to say pole to the family of the late Maria, her colleagues who worked with her, and always remember that indeed this could be our very last day, each one of us, and that tomorrow we could be having this conversation about one of us. It is a very eerie deja vu for me, Mr. Speaker, because people have just been dying when least expected. I remember when we were in Dubai and we lost our brother Washington. It didn't seem that anything was wrong with him, and so with Maria. So, Mr. Speaker, allow me to just pass my gratitude for her service and to pass my condolences once again to say, may the Lord rest her soul in eternal peace. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mutinda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I do pass my condolences to the family of Maria, the husband, the children that she has left. It's indeed quite sad. It's my first time to stand in this house to give condolences, because you never know when the door will ring, when the bell will ring. As my Nairobi senator has also mentioned, we lost another colleague a few months ago by the name Wellington in Dubai. Still a colleague and a staff in this Senate. It's quite a very sad state. It's quite very shocking. But what I'm happy about is the fact that we have good words for Mariam. She was dedicated. She was eloquent. She was good in her roles that she was undertaking. As we continue delivering our services, it is good to ask, what will you say about me when one day you'll be talking about me? But because one day we shall all go, one day we shall all live, it is important to always try and make sure whatever opportunity that God has given you to do, always try and do to your best so that you leave a legacy for tomorrow. We continue celebrating Maria. We continue celebrating Wellington because we didn't have an opportunity to celebrate him. And we continue working together with you, the office of the clerk. From the time we came to this parliament, you've always supported the who I am today. I appreciate your office. May God bless you. Thank you.
Senator Oburu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I also want to join the voice of my colleagues in passing condolences to this great family, the family of the awardees. Mr. Speaker, I knew this lady. She was very, very humble. She was very hardworking. She was very simple. And Mr. Speaker, these are the qualities for which the awardees are known. She was a replica of her father. Her father loved her dearly. Her mother also loved her dearly. And this is a family, Mr. Speaker, with whom we have had very long relationship as a family. In fact, her grandfather is the one, Kono Nawori, is the one who baptized me when I was a kid, when I was a small kid. So, Mr. Speaker, this is a great loss to us as a Senate. It is also a great loss to the family. And Mr. Speaker, we would like to, I would just like to join and ask that the Almighty God rest her soul in in peace. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Wamatinga.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I also like to join my colleagues in passing my message of condolences to you, to the clerk, and indeed to all of us. I may not have interacted with Maria personally, but since we joined the Senate a couple of months ago, the Parliamentary Service Commission have stood out in one thing. They've held our hands with a lot of kindness to the new members, and most importantly, with a very, very humble approach and attitude and a lot of respect. As my colleagues, Senator Sifuna, have said, we lost another colleague just a few months ago in Dubai, and it was indeed very, very hard, as it is now. Someone who had no signs of any ill or sickness, just like that, passes on. And it is a reminder to us all that we are actually just transiting in this world, and it is not our home. And I would want to challenge us all. It is time that we start redefining our relationship with ourselves, and most importantly, with our Maker, because definitely this world, as much as it's not our home, we may not know who's next. I therefore want to take this opportunity to pray that God gives the family and the colleagues solitude and fortitude to overcome these hard moments. May her soul rest in peace. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Kamar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to join you and colleagues in condoling the family of Maria. It's actually so shocking. It's difficult to imagine that Maria is now the late. Very shocking. Mr. Speaker, I have known Maria since I came to the Senate. I have been very fortunate to work closely with her. She was, I think, on the desk of SCP EU, and we traveled to very unique countries with her. A very diligent staff, a very respectful staff, a very jovial and happy person. Such a beautiful heart, Mr. Speaker. Maria, as Senator Alwale has said, there was no worry in her. She was her. She worked like herself, something that all of us in this house would wish our children would be, so that they are not an attachment to the legacies of their parents, but they become themselves. Maria, whenever we traveled, was an amazing person. You would not believe that this was a senator and a staff. We were like friends. We were very fortunate to go to very unique countries. I think it was Slovenia and Hungary. And when we decided with Maria we were going shopping, we went shopping. And we enjoyed ourselves. The latest was when we went to France last year, the last meeting of the SCPU before we broke out of this house. Thank you, Speaker, for the 1 minute. She is just a wonderful person. I want to say Paula to the family, to the awardees, and to the staff, because she was a friend of everybody. I think there is nobody whose heart she didn't touch, both the staff and as a Senate. May her soul rest in peace. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Kenywa. Let's keep it 2 minutes or under, senators.
Asante sana Bwana Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii. Nachukua fursa hii kuleta risala zangu za rambirambi za familia yangu pamoja na watu wa kutoka Laikipia. Spika, nataka kuungana nawe kusema pole sana kwa familia, kwa sababu Maria namjua vizuri sana, kwa sababu nilipokuwa mwaka uliopita, nilipokuwa spika wa muda, tulifanya naye kazi vizuri kwa karibu, na nilimjua kama mtu aliyemakinika katika kazi yake. Bwana Spika, Bwana Spika, sitasahau ya kwamba Maria aliongea kwa lugha ya Kiingereza akimakinika kabisa. Bwana Spika, nakumbuka vizuri Bwana Spika, kila wakati nilipokuwa pale akija alinieleza, kwa sababu ilikuwa mara yangu ya kwanza kuketi katika hicho kiti, nilimtegemea yeye sana. Kwa hivyo Bwana Spika, namkumbuka nikiwa na uchungu Bwana Spika kwa kumpoteza yeye. Bwana Spika, ni jambo la kuvunja moyo wakati sisi tunaongea hapa kila wakati Bwana Spika tukiomboleza ndugu zetu. Bwana Spika, nakumbuka nilisimama hapa mara ya kwanza nikimwomboleza Mheshimiwa Ben Aluoch. Bwana Spika, tena nikasimama hapa nikimwomboleza Mheshimiwa Senator Kabaka. Bwana Spika, tena nakumbuka nikisimama hapa kumwomboleza Wellington. Bwana Spika, hivi sasa kwa uchungu tena nasimama kumwomboleza Maria. Bwana Spika, pengine hata japokuwa Biblia inasema ya kwamba Mungu hajibu maswali, Mungu anajibu maombi. Lakini Bwana Spika, sisi kama binadamu tuna uchungu kupotelewa na mmoja wetu ambaye tulifanya naye kazi. Lakini kwa familia nawaambia pole, hata japokuwa hiyo ndio njia hata sisi ambayo tunangoja tutapitia Bwana Spika. na tujiulize tu maswali wakati wetu utakapofika. Mimi Kenywa nitakuwa nimemjua Mwenyezi Mungu kwa njia gani? Kwa sababu hiyo ndio njia na tunangojea.
Senator Kibwana Hamida.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also rise to condole with the Senate family, Clerk, Deputy Clerk, you, Mr. Speaker, colleagues, directors, and everyone else. Death is inevitable, but how cruel it seems at times. It is unfortunate that we have lost Maria. I used to joke with her, I used to call her Madam Abuju Buju, and also called her Madam Motion. It's really unfortunate. And on behalf of Kewasa, tunasema say pole sana. Senator Muma and I managed to go to Lee funeral and joined our colleagues. We met the husband and the brother. It was very sad the way, the husband narrated. It was just a sudden death. So we say pole to the family, and as Muslims we say, from thee we come from, and from thee we shall return. May her soul rest in peace.
Senator Mundigi.
Bwana Spika, mimi na jimbo la Embu tunaendelea rambirambi zetu kwa familia na pia kwa Senate na kwa wafanyikazi. Kwa sababu Maria hatujaongea naye sana mimi, lakini jana sikumbuki ni before saa 6 ama ni jioni, nilikuwa nataka usaidizi wa Clerk, lakini wakati nilifika pale akaniuliza nataka namna gani, nikamwambia hata wewe unaweza kunisaidia kwa sababu ilikuwa ni kuhusu nimestakiwa na PA wangu. Akanionyesha mtu mwingine tukaongea leo nilete makaratasi ndio niweze kusaidika, lakini wakati tulikuwa kule nikaona hiyo picha, nikaona ni vile yule mandamu niliona jana. Kwa hivyo mimi naleta rambirambi zetu na kwa kusema ni pole, na pia kifo inatufunza namna gani ati sisi wakati wowote, hata kama umejiandaa kwenda kazi ama kusaidia ama kufanya nini, wakati ni wote kifo kinaweza kukuja wakati wote. Kwa hiyo sasa ni njia kutufunza tuwe tayari wakati wowote, usiku na mchana, ati tuweza kutoka katika ulimwengu huu. Asante sana Bwana Spika.
Senator Faki.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika pia kunipa fursa hii kujiunga na wenzangu kutoa rambirambi zetu kwako, kwa karani wa bunge na kwa familia ya mwenda zake Maria. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa hakika ni pigo kubwa, sio kwa familia peke yake, lakini hata katika bunge hili la Senate, kwa sababu Maria ni mmoja kati ya wale wafanyaji kazi ambao walikuwa wanafanya kazi zao kwa uangalifu zaidi na kwa haraka iwapo atahitajika kufanya hivyo kwa haraka. Nilimjua Maria, Mheshimiwa Spika, kutoka miaka ya 80 tulipokuwa wanafunzi katika chuo kikuu cha Nairobi, akifanya masomo ya Bachelor of Arts na mimi nikifanya masomo ya sheria. Nilipokuja hapa kwa muhula wa kwanza nilimpata, na baada ya kuzungumza naye tukajuana kwamba kweli tulikuwa mwaka mmoja university. Mwaka uliokwisha tuliwahi kusafiri na yeye pia kwenda France kwa masuala ya ACPU, na kwa hakika mara nyingi katika safari zile huwa ni mtu mwenye usaidizi mkubwa, sio tu kwa mambo ya kawaida ya usaidizi wa protocol, lakini hata yale masuala ambayo yanazungumziwa katika mikutano ile. Mheshimiwa Spika, alikuwa na umahiri nayo, kwa hivyo ilikuwa ni msaada mkubwa kwetu sisi ambao tulikuwa tunashiriki katika mikutano ile. Mheshimiwa Spika, sote ni njia yetu hiyo. Sisi Waislamu tunasema inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi rajiun. Mwenyezi Mungu aweke roho yake mahali pema peponi. Asante.
Senator Wafula.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika kwa nafasi hii. Kwa niaba yangu, familia yangu, watu wa Bungoma, nimeleta rambirambi kwa familia ya mwenda zake. Mimi nilimjua kwa sababu alikuwa mama mcheshi, mkarimu, mpole, ambaye hakuwa na majivuno ama kujigamba. Alikuwa mchapakazi ambaye alijitolea kwa hali na mali kuhakikisha kwamba mchango wetu katika jumba la Senate inahakikiwa na kunakiliwa kwenye kumbukumbu za jumba la Senate na kuhakikisha kwamba Kenya inapata haki kwa kipato kidogo kile ambacho Wakenya wanatozwa. Vile vile ningependa kutoa rambirambi kwa familia ya mwenda zake, kwa sababu wahenga walisema tunda hili la binti huyu lilianguka kwenye shina la mti, na ukiashiria vema unaona taswira ya Mheshimiwa Mudi Awori kwamba na kielelezo kwa wengi wenye tajriba, wenye pesa, wenye uzoefu wa kisiasa na uzoefu wa kushika mkwanja ama hela, kwamba japo hadhi yako ya wazazi katika nchi ya Kenya ni lazima tuwe wapole, tuwe wakarimu, tuwe wachapakazi kama marehemu jinsi alivyojieleza, jinsi alivyofanya kazi katika jumba la Senate, na ni kumwombea kwamba safari yake iwe nyepesi, na anapofika kule katika mkono wa kuume wa Maulana amwambie tuko safarini kutenda wema kwa walio wema na kuwatendea wema wasio wema, kwa sababu yote tenda wema nenda zako. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Speaker.
Senator Crystal Asige.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've been sitting here trying to find the right words because sadness doesn't cover it, and shock doesn't cover it, Mr. Speaker. I'm still feeling a bit sick to my stomach as I stand, actually, at the idea that Maria's not here. Mr. Speaker, from the very first day I walked into Senate and Parliament in general, Maria was the first person that I met, one of the first people to call me Senator. Mr. Speaker, she was the one who stood here with me for over an hour, helping me to rehearse before my swearing in. She's the one who was calming my nerves, telling me that I'll do great, you'll do great, Senator, she said. We had an inside joke, actually, that I was one of the few senators that she's ever seen in her time here that actually said the word conscientiously correctly during oath. Mr. Speaker, one of the first workshops that we also had in Mombasa, it was Maria who stood up for me in meetings and said, why don't we ask Senator Asige to chair one of these sessions? And that was the first and the only session that I've ever chaired since being a senator. It's because of Maria, because she saw me out of everybody else. Mr. Speaker, it's just recently, as Azimio have been rearranging their committees, Mr. Speaker, I remember sitting in the Senate lounge and trying to think which committee might I want to offer myself to. And Maria came and sat down with me, and I asked her, what do you think? And she said, Senator, I think that you should try for one of, the big ones. Don't be scared. I think that you'd do great on the speaker's panel. And I said, nah.
Don't conclude.
Thank you. She said that I would do great on the speaker's panel. Her words were, Senator, I think that you'd kill it. And so I applied. But Mr. Speaker, my point is that she was extremely encouraging towards me. And she saw past the disability and just saw a woman, somebody who, like her, has humor. We connected on wit, and just generally in life, she was, in my life here so far, she has been extremely encouraging and supportive. And if I don't say this directly to her family, I just want to say I'm so sorry to her husband, her daughter who's in college, and her son who is still in high school. We are so, so sorry for your loss. Asante.
Senator Sigay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Indeed, it's a sad day. The time I came into the Senate, and when we had our first meeting in the Speaker's panel, the person who held my hand and over time has been reaching out is Maria. It is sad that we've lost her. Yesterday, she dropped me a message inviting me to join the rest of the team in the Speaker's panel. I told her I was not going to be available. I didn't know today she wouldn't be no more. And indeed, this world is not our world. I join you, Speaker, and the rest of my colleagues in the Senate to condole with the family, ask God to grant them grace to mourn the loss of Maria. We are all mourning, and we pray that her soul be placed in eternal peace. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Shakila.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa nafasi hii kutoa rambirambi zangu kwa Maria. Mheshimiwa Spika, Maria tulijuana na yeye nikiwa bunge kabla kufika hapa Senate. Na tulifanya naye kazi vizuri sana, tumewahi kusafiri na yeye. Hata kuna wakati nilipokuwa napata mjukuu wangu wa kwanza, Maria aliwahi kumnunulia zawadi nilipokuwa nikimfanyia shopping. Mheshimiwa Spika, Maria alikuwa ni karani mtaalamu ambaye alikuwa akifanya kazi yake kwa uadilifu sana. Na ni masikitiko kwamba leo hayuko na sisi, na alikuwa ni karani ambaye kwamba alikuwa ni msaidizi mkubwa kwa kila mfanyikazi na kwa kila Senate. Leo hii hayuko na sisi, lakini tunasema sisi Kiislamu, kullu nafs intadal mauti. Kila nafsi itaonja mauti. Sote binadamu tutakufa, kila mtu kwa siku yake. Cha muhimu kwetu sote ni kuhakikisha na kuthibitisha kwamba tunaacha mambo mazuri nyuma baada ya kuondoka, kama mwenzetu Maria tunavyomuongelea kwa uzuri. Sisi wote ni mashahidi wa Maria kwa sababu aliishi na watu vizuri, na kule aliko mbele ya Mwenyezi Mungu sisi ndio tutakuwa ni mashahidi wake kwa kumuongelea vizuri kwa sababu aliishi vizuri. Na natoa rambirambi zangu kwa familia na bwanake na watoto, na kwa maklaki na wewe pia Mheshimiwa Spika. Asante sana.
Senator Miraj.
Asante Mr. Speaker. Na mimi nimesimama kuweza kutoa rambirambi zangu kwa bunge la Senate, wewe Speaker wetu, maklak wetu, wafanyikazi wenzake, jamii yake, mume wake na watoto wake. Kwa hakika ni pigo katika jumba hili. Alikuwa mfanyikazi mzuri, japo sikuwahi kuinteract naye, lakini na mimi nasimama kutoa rambirambi zangu. Mwenyezi Mungu amweke mahali pema peponi dada yetu.
Senator Montet.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Indeed, it's a sad day, and especially, Mr. Speaker, sir, looking at that desk where Maria was yesterday and she's no more today, it is indeed sad. I want to send my condolences to you, Mr. Speaker, sir, the office of the clerk, the family of the Senate, Maria's family, her larger family, and my prayer is, may God comfort them from above and may her soul rest in peace. Amen.
Senator Okenyuri.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also want to join the rest of the Senate fraternity in sending my sincere condolences to the family of Maria. I actually first had an interaction with Maria when I had come up with a statement on civic education, which wasn't later processed, and after advice, they actually thought the statement would actually make a very good bill proposal. So after that guidance, Maria actually took me through, and I actually had an opportunity of now drafting a county civic education bill through her inspiration. And I would say Maria was a very diligent, decent, dedicated staff member. And as a young legislator, I really had quite some inspiration from her, because she really encouraged me and thought there's so much I can do on this floor of the House and in serving Kenyans in general. So upon learning about her sudden demise, I was really shocked, and I feel sorry that we are losing her at such a time. And in all that, I say I'll share the memories we had for the short time we interacted, and may the good Lord rest her soul in eternal peace. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Beth Siengo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, I also join my colleagues to pass my condolences. First to you, to the clerk, and the entire staff of Senate, and all of us as a house. Mr. Speaker, I knew Maria as a very cool and composed staff who was very dedicated to serve even us who have just joined the Senate, and she was ready to guide us in so many areas. So I'm shocked also to learn of her demise. And I give my condolences to the family, and I pray that may her soul rest in peace. Thank you.
Senator Kisang.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of myself, my family, and the people of Elgeyo-Marakwet County, I wish to convey sincere condolences to you, the clerk, and the staff of Senate, and ourselves, and the family, because of the loss of Maria. Maria, I've seen her since I came to this Senate this year, always ever present in front there. We pray that the Almighty God to comfort the family, give them peace, strength, and during this difficult time, and may her soul rest in eternal peace.
Senator Richard Onyonka.
Ndugu Spika, kwa niaba yangu binafsi kama Senator wa jimbo la Kisii, na tena kwa niaba yangu kama kijana wa aliyekuwa zamani mbunge wa Kitutu Chache, Dr. Zakari Onyonka, ambaye alifanya kazi na mzee Awori. Ningependa kutoa rambirambi zangu kwa familia ya mzee Awori. Ningependa kutoa rambirambi zangu kwako wewe binafsi kama spika wetu. Ningependa pia kutoa rambirambi zangu kwa wale wafanyikazi wote ambao wako hapa kwa ofisi ya Senate. Mama Maria ni mtu tulikuwa tunamheshimu. Unavyojua ndugu spika, nimekaa hapa kwa muda na nimekuwa nikimuona wakati alipo Senate ilipofunguliwa. Kazi yake ilikuwa haifanye kutoka hapa wakati nikiwa mbunge katika kule National Assembly. Ningependa kusema pole kwa familia wote, marafiki na wale wote ambao wamehusika kwa kuchangia kufaidika kwake, kuhakikisha kuwa amefanya kazi nzuri kwa hili jumba la Senate. Na ningependa kusema kuwa Mheshimiwa Spika, Mwenyezi Mungu aweke roho yake mahala pema peponi. Shukran.
Senator Veronica.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to take this opportunity to offer my deepest condolences to the Speaker, the Clerk, and the entire fraternity of the staff members in Senate. And I want to especially offer my heartfelt condolences to Maria's husband and the daughter and the wider family and friends and all those who cared for her and who were her friends. Mr. Speaker, when I first came to this house and I was placed in the speaker's panel, the first person I dealt with, among the first people I dealt with in Senate, was Maria. She was very kind. I told her of my fears that I wasn't sure how I was going to perform on that seat. She gave me such an assurance and kept saying that don't worry, we'll give you all the guidance you need. And Mr. Speaker, when we finished with that session, she waited for me outside after I had completed the first day, and she assured me once again that we had done okay. Mr. Speaker, she was one of those very kind souls that I have met, an intelligent woman, very hardworking. I believe she was one of the best staffers in Senate, and her departure leaves a very big gap. We wish her family God's grace and fortitude as they mourn and prepare for the burial of our sister, Maria. And we want to assure the family and the friends and the Senate fraternity that we are praying for them and may her soul rest in eternal peace.
Senator Abdul Haji.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to send my condolences to the family, friends, and colleagues of Maria. I knew Maria very well. In my last foreign trip, we actually traveled together, spent a lot of time. I always wondered about her second name, which she explained to me. She even went into details to tell me how she met with the husband and how she changed her name, which sounded very foreign to me at that time. Mr. Speaker, it is indeed very sad that we learned of the news of her demise today. All I want to do is to wish the family peace and patience during these very tough times that we'll be going through. And I finish by saying that to God we belong, and to God we shall all return. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senators, for those very touching, warm, and moving condolences. The Office of the Clerk will be communicating to us about the arrangements as we prepare to take our sister to her final resting place. So that communication will be coming from the Office of the Clerk. Clerk, kindly proceed to call the next order, please.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Before I call the Majority Leader to lay the papers, allow me to make this communication. I would like to acknowledge the presence in the public gallery this afternoon, visiting teachers and students from Kuriama Secondary School, Baringo County. The group comprises 5 teachers and 57 students who are in the Senate for a one-day academic exposition. Honorable Senators, in our usual tradition of receiving and welcoming visitors to Parliament, I extend a warm welcome to them, and on behalf of the Senate and on my own behalf, wish them a fruitful visit. Majority Leader, take a minute to welcome the guests as you proceed to lay the papers.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the Senate today, Wednesday, the 7th of June, 2023. Number 1, report of the Auditor General for the county governments, that's a county executive, volume 1, for the financial year 2021-2022. 2, report of the Auditor General for the county governments of county assemblies, volume 2, for the financial year 2021-2022. 3, the Office of the Controller of Budget annual report for the financial statements for the financial year 2021-2022. 4, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of the County Facilities Improvement Fund Board for the County Government of Taita Taveta for the year ended 30th June 2022. 5, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of the Municipality of Rongo for the year ended 30th June 2022. 6, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Migori County Water and Sanitation Company Limited for the year ended 30th June 2022. 7, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of the Kikuyu Water Company Limited for the year ended 30th June 2022. 8, report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Karuri Water and Sanitation Company Limited for the year ended 30th June 2022. 9, Report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Kiambu County Assembly, 30th June 2022. 10. Report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of the receiver of revenue statements for the county government of Kiambu for the year ended 30th June 2022. 11. Report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Kiambu County Alcoholic Drinks Control Fund for the year ended 30th June 2022. 12. Report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of the Kiambu County Emergency Fund for the year ended 30th June 2022. Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay. Mr. Speaker, I also want to join you in welcoming the students from Koriema Secondary School, that is in Baringo County. Mr. Speaker, I wish the students a fruitful tour as they take a study of the Senate. I hope that they get to maximize on their stay here, learn all that they've come to do, and interact with members. I haven't seen their senator, Senator Cheptumo. We were with him earlier today, but I guess he must be held up elsewhere. Mr. Speaker, I don't know if you know this fact, that no matter where you travel in this world, you will never eat better goat meat than goat meat from Koriema, where this school comes from, Mr. Speaker. I know that for a fact, Mr. Speaker, and I've tasted goats all over the world. It's unfortunate that they didn't carry some for Senator Sifuna, Mr. Speaker, and myself as well, because I know how sweet goat meat is from Koriema. So, Mr. Speaker, I hope that we can, we are pushing this idea as Kenya Kwanza administration, having county aggregation centers. Apart from the many things that Baringo County will do, is that they will be able to package that meat safely and have it delivered to our various addresses. And we'll pay premium amount, Mr. Speaker, for it, because it is worth every penny that is spent on goat meat from Koriema. To the students of Koriema Secondary School, I wish you well. May you succeed and dream beyond your wildest of imagination. Don't be limited by anything. You can achieve whatever you dream and set out to do. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next order, Clerk.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Statements pursuant to Standing Order 52-1. The Honorable Senator Chirange.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, and confirm what Senator Aaron is saying about the meat from Koriema. Mr. Speaker, the statement on the explanatory performance by Kenyan athletes and smashing of the women's 1500 meters world record by Faith Kipyegon at the WADA Diamond League 2023 Golden Gala. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise past 1 to Standing Order 52-1 to make a statement on the issue of general topical concern and national importance, namely the performance by Kenyan athletes and smashing of the women's 1500 meters world record by Faith Kipyegon at the WADA Diamond League 2023 Golden Gala at Kirov Stadium in Florence, in Italy. Mr. Speaker, sir, it was a great moment for Kenya history when history was made by our very own Faith Kipyegon when she shattered the world record for the women's 1500 meters race, setting a new record of 3:4:9:11. Kipyegon smashed the record of 3:50:07 previously set by Ethiopia's Kensebe Dibaba in Monaco in 2015. Mr. Speaker, sir, Kipyegon, an Olympic and current world 1500 meters champion and a legend, has gone on to assert a position as one of the all-time greatest women athletes in the 1500 meters race, breaking the world record, which has been elusive and missing in her career. Mr. Speaker, sir, Kipyegon's journey to the top is like a fairy tale, having started from bottom up with a sweep of the world under 18 and under 20 titles in 2011 and 2012 respectively, and 17 Diamond League victories since her debut in the league in 2015. With her, Mr. Speaker, sir, latest result, she has become the greatest woman runner of all time or an athlete in the 1500 meters race in Kenya and the world. Mr. Speaker, sir, I also wish to congratulate Ferdinand Omanyala, the fastest man in Africa, for finishing second at the same Diamond League in Florence, Italy, by clocking 10.05 seconds. Mr. Speaker, sir, this superb performance by our athletes has shown our upcoming athletes that through determination, hard work, everything is possible, and that the more world records are coming our way. Mr. Speaker, sir, I continue to call on our athletes to remain clean and dedicated in their careers by avoiding the doping menace that has ended careers and dented the image of many athletes here at the country and across the world. Mr. Speaker, sir, I call upon the government, Athletics Kenya, and National Olympics of Kenya, NOC, to engage these upcoming and promising athletes as Kenya's brand ambassadors in sports tourism and in marketing Kenya abroad. Issue them with diplomatic passports and ensure that their finances and rewards are proper and well structured to keep them motivated at all times. Mr. Speaker, sir, finally, on my own behalf and on the great people of Nandi, the source of champions, I wish to congratulate our own Faith Kipyegon and Ferdinand Omanyala and all our athletes and wish them well, assuring them of my commitment and the commitment of the Senate and support at all times as they continue representing our great nation. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Statement pursuant to Standing Order 53-1, the Honorable Senator Tabitha Mutinda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I do rise pursuant to Standing Order 53 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Land and Environment, Natural Resources on the regulation of sand harvesting in Kitui County. In the statement, the committee should, 1, outline the actions undertaken by the National Environmental Management Authority and the relevant county departments to ensure sustained enforcement of laws and regulations pertaining to natural resources, including sand harvesting in Kitui County, in order to eliminate cartels exploiting the country's natural resources without benefiting the residents, host counties, and the national government.
Senator Chirange, kindly consult in low tones so that we can hear the senator speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 2, provide details of guidelines formulated and implemented by the Kitui County and the National Environmental Management Authority in relation to sand harvesting, with a specific focus on managing and mitigating the impact of sand harvesting on the environment, the host communities. 3, Mr. Speaker, state the measures being taken by Kitui County and the National Environmental Management Authority to carry out regular monitoring and inspections in order to guarantee compliance with the environmental regulations regarding sand harvesting. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, recommend measures to stop illegal sand harvesting in Kitui County and the country at large, including ensuring illegal harvesters are brought to book. Thank you.
Senator Hamida Kibwana.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have 3 statements to make. I'll start with the first one on challenges in passport issuance and claims of bribery. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations regarding the challenges in passport issuance and claims of corruption in the Directorate of Immigration Services, particularly the passport section. In the statement, the committee should, number one, outline the measures being implemented to combat alleged instances of corruption within the Directorate of Immigration Services, particularly the practice of expediting passport issuance for those who can afford to bribe officials. Number two, explain the immediate and long-term measures put in place by government to address cases of frequent machine breakdown, as well as supply chain challenges for passport production. And number three, state plans by immigration services to clear the substantial backlog of approximately 60,000 pending passport applications and expedite the processing of these applications in strict adherence to the stipulated 21-day processing time. The second statement, it's regarding accessibility and affordability of fistula care in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Health regarding the actions being taken by the Ministry of Health to make fistula care more accessible and affordable in Kenya. In the statement, the committee should provide an assessment of the current status of fistula care facilities and resources in Kenya, including the number of trained medical personnel and specialized centers capable of providing comprehensive fistula care, prevention, repair, and social reintegration services. Number two, explain the strategies in place to address the barriers that prevent victims from accessing necessary health care and resources, including efforts to improve geographical accessibility, affordability of services, and the availability of specialized equipment and supplies. And number three, state measures being implemented to ensure comprehensive care for all victims of obstetric fistula, including the number of surgeries performed every quarter, rehabilitation and reintegration programs, and ongoing efforts to increase the capacity and efficiency of fistula treatment services. The last statement, Mr. Speaker, it's regarding actions to make cancer treatment accessible and affordable in Kenya. In the state, Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Health regarding the actions being taken by the Ministry of Health to make cancer treatment accessible and affordable in Kenya. In the statement, the committee should state the plans the Ministry of Health has made to declare cancer a national disaster in Kenya and allocate sufficient budgetary resources to support cancer awareness, diagnosis, and treatment initiatives. Number two, explain interventions that the Ministry of Health has put in place in any to subsidize the cost of cancer care and treatment. Number three, state actions that have been taken by the Council of Governors to prioritize the establishment and equipping of cancer diagnosis and treatment center in every county to enhance accessibility to these essential services. And number four, explain measures taken by the Council of Governors aimed to increasing budgetary allocation towards cancer awareness among populations and clinicians in each county in order to achieve early diagnosis and improved treatment outcomes. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
Senator Beth Siengo. Senator Wambua, you're holding brief for... Senator
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
So you read our statement and proceed also to make your statement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will read Senator Shengo's statement, and then I read mine as well. So, Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Trade, Industrialization and Tourism regarding the promotion and marketing of rocks and hills in the eastern region of Kenya as tourism sites. In the statement, the committee should, 1, outline the findings of surveys and assessments conducted, if any, for rocks and hills in the eastern region, including Gomeni Rocks and Zawi Hills in Kitui and Makueni counties, respectively, to evaluate their potential for tourism. 2, state the criteria used in identifying areas for promotion and marketing as tourist sites, clarifying whether the rocks and hills meet these criteria. And 3, state measures put in place by the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage to develop tourism infrastructure and attract local and international visitors to rocks and hills, noting that they offer outdoor recreational opportunities such as hiking and climbing. The Speaker, that is the statement as requested by Senator Beth Siengo. With your permission, the Speaker, and your indulgence, I'll proceed to seek my statement under 53-1. And so, Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Land, Environment and Natural Resources regarding issuance of title deeds to the residents of Kitui County. Speaker, Senator Manzo and Senator Kajwang are consulting in very high tones.
Manzo and Senator Kajwang, you're out of order, and I'm going to give you the first question of the day.
Thank you, the Speaker. In the statement, the committee should, 1, state the number of title deeds that have been issued to the residents of Kitui County since 2017 to date, providing a year-by-year breakdown. 2, state the number of adjudicated areas in Kitui County where title deeds are yet to be issued and the number of areas that are yet to undergo adjudication. And 3, indicate steps being taken to expedite the adjudication process in Kitui County, especially areas covering the Kibwezi, Mutomo, Kitui, Migwani Road, where land was compulsorily acquired for the construction of the road, and residents are yet to be compensated on account of this non-adjudication and non-issuance of title deeds. The Speaker, I thank you.
Senator Edwin Sifuna.
Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries regarding the non-payment of dairy farmers dues by the New Kenya Cooperative Creameries Limited, the new KCC. In the statement, the committee should explain why farmers selling their milk to the new KCC have not been paid since March of this year to date, state how much money is owed to the farmers by new KCC and indicate when they should expect to be paid, and finally provide a detailed report on the financial position or standing of the new KCC. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Statement pursuant to Standing Order 56-1, the Honorable Matthew.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 56-1 of the Senate Standing Orders to make a statement relating to a matter for which the committee is responsible. I rise here as the Chairman Committee on Lands, Environment and Natural Resources to make my remarks as the chairperson to that committee on the World Environment Day 2023. Honorable Speaker, the World Environment Day is the largest global event celebrated by millions on June 5th. The event, led by the United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP, was first celebrated on 5th June 1973, and this year marks its 50th anniversary. This year's theme for the World Environment Day will focus on the solutions for plastic pollution. World Environment Day helps to highlight the urgent challenges we currently face, challenges like the climate change, biodiversity loss, and pollution. Plastic pollution touches on all the three of those challenges, and it is crucial that as Kenyans we continue raising awareness, correcting best practices, and ensuring commitment from all stakeholders. Honorable Speaker, today we are seized of the opportunity to address a critical issue that plagues not only Kenya, but the entire world: plastic pollution. Under this year's theme of focusing on solutions to plastic pollution, we aim to delve into the unique context of Kenya and explore the legislative approach to combat this menace in our beloved nation. Kenya, like many other countries, has been severely affected by the adverse impacts of plastic pollution. Our rivers, lakes, coastlines are being suffocated by plastic waste, endangering our precious ecosystem and marine life. Plastic pollution poses a significant threat to human health, sustainable development, and the overall well-being of our society. However, it is not a challenge that cannot be overcome. To effectively combat plastic pollution in Kenya, a multifaceted approach that combines legislative measures, public awareness campaigns, and a sustainable practice is essential. Let us focus on the legislative aspect and explore how our laws and regulations can pave the way towards a plastic-free future. Honorable Speaker, firstly, it is imperative to strengthen existing legislations related to plastic waste management. This committee, during the 12th Parliament, passed the Sustainable Waste Management Bill, National Assembly Bill of 2020, National Assembly Bill number 22 of 2021. We will be looking at the Act to ensure that it adequately responds to challenges we have in the present day. However, there is a need for stricter enforcement, enhanced penalties, and comprehensive guidelines that specifically target plastic production, consumption, and disposal. Additionally, introducing a ban or restriction on single-use plastic can significantly reduce the amount of plastic waste generated. Several countries have successfully implemented such measures, and Kenya can draw inspiration from these experiences. By prohibiting production, importation, and use of certain single plastic use items, such as plastic bags, straws, and water bottles, we can encourage a shift towards more sustainable alternatives and promote a circular economy. Honorable Speaker, to support the implementation of these bans and restrictions, it is crucial to establish a robust regulatory framework. This framework should outline the responsibilities of various stakeholders, including manufacturers, retailers, and consumers, and provide guidelines for waste management, recycling, and the development of sustainable packaging materials. By fostering collaboration between government, industry, and civil society, we can ensure effective implementation of these regulations. Moreover, incentivizing the recycling industry through legislation can play a significant role in reducing plastic pollution. By offering tax breaks, subsidies, or grants to businesses engaged in plastic recycling, we can stimulate investment and innovation in this sector. Creating a favorable environment for recycling companies will not only create job opportunities, but also promote a circular economy, where plastic waste is seen as a valuable resource than a disposable commodity. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, as we commemorate the World Environment Day 2023, let us recognize that the battle against plastic pollution requires a comprehensive legislative approach in the Kenyan context. By strengthening existing laws, introducing bans and restrictions, establishing a regulatory framework, and giving incentives for recycling. We can pave way towards a cleaner and healthier environment for ourselves and future generations. Remember, the power to protect our environment lies within each and every one of us. Let us be the change we wish to see and inspire others to join us for this transformative journey together. That's my humble submission. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Kajwang, what is your intervention?
Mr. Speaker, I wanted to beg your indulgence to allow me just a minute or two to just support what the substantive chair of the standing committee that deals with climate change matters, the statement he has made with regards to World Environment Day. Mr. Speaker, as you know, you have granted me the opportunity to convene the climate change caucus within the Senate, and it is one caucus that draws membership in a bipartisan manner. Mr. Speaker, World Environment Day fell on Monday, as has been communicated by the chair, and the caucus had made certain arrangements to do tree planting around Uhuru Park. Mr. Speaker, we did not execute because one of our main partners, the United Nations Environment Program, had expressed their willingness to support us in that activity. Mr. Speaker, we decided to postpone our tree planting activity to afford the Executive Director of the United Nations Environment Program an opportunity to come to the Senate to meet the Speaker and to meet with other members of the Senate, because we think that a partnership between the Senate and UNEP is one that would be mutually beneficial, considering that the UNEP is headquartered here in Nairobi. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the caucus, we shall be communicating the new date on which we as members of parliament can join the global effort towards combating climate change through planting of trees and through elimination of waste plastic. Mr. Speaker, this year's theme was around plastic, and there are important and interesting innovations that we have come across as a caucus. Ghana is proposing at the United Nations a global plastic pollution fee, and that will be levied on some of the big users of plastic, people like Coca-Cola, the global beverage manufacturers. And in as much as Kenya has gone for the ban on single-use plastic, there are other innovations that we can consider, like imposing higher levies. Mr. Speaker, I would be happy if we're increasing the taxes on producers of plastic, which then end up choking the environment. Mr. Speaker, I also wanted to, with your permission, to encourage that when African leaders meet in Nairobi in September, under the leadership of William Ruto as the chair of the Climate Change Committee of the Africa Union, that we as members of parliament should not be left behind. That as the presidents have a conversation on climate action, ministers have a conversation, we as legislators should also ensure that our voices are heard. This week, the United Nations Habitat Conference is going on, and we've been very lucky, Mr. Speaker, to get invitations. In fact, this afternoon, Senator Muma and Senator Hamida had already registered to represent the Senate at the UN Habitat, but it is the death, untimely death of our staff, Mr. Speaker, I could never get to call her anything beside Abujubu, and that's how I always used to call her. And it is that news that pulled Senator Hamida and Senator Muma out of the UN Habitat meeting. So I just wanted to encourage that when the world converges in Africa later on in September, that members of parliament should also be involved. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I want to encourage multilateralism. The Paris Agreement is an important tool for multilateral action around climate-related causes. Mr. Speaker, we know that when the president was opening the UN Habitat Conference, he made certain critical remarks about the processes that go about the Paris Agreement. I do not want to believe that the president might be directing us towards a withdrawal from the Paris Agreement, which is part of national laws because it has been ratified and domesticated in Kenya. I want to encourage that even as we approach multilateralism, even as we go into this conference of parties under the Paris Agreement, COP28 or COP29, we don't go as beggars, and we don't go with an inferior attitude or with an inferiority complex. I want to believe that that is what the president has been calling out, that when we go for COPs, when we go for global climate meetings, we should not go as beggars on our knees and with a begging bowl, because after all, the impacts of climate change are devastating upon us. And the people to blame are the same people who want to give us aid and who want to give us conditions and who want to put us as small beggars in light of those Paris Agreement and multilateral arrangements. So, Mr. Speaker, we should never pull out of those multilateral arrangements like the US did during the time of Donald Trump. And the president, I hope, will still encourage Kenya to be part of future COPs, because that is where decisions are made in a multilateral manner that can help us to combat the global climate challenges. Mr. Speaker,
What is your point of information? And Senator Kajwang, would you wish to be informed?
Yes, Senator Mungatana, I accept.
No, Mr. Speaker, just to allay the fears of my colleague, Senator Kajwang, the president is not pulling us away from COP 20, is it 28? Yes. The president addressed this issue when he was addressing the climate change conference in Midrand, South Africa, and addressing the whole of the Pan-African Parliament. And he said specifically, because there's a thinking among some African nations that let us not attend Paris, let us frustrate Paris. That is a COP that the Honorable Kajwang is talking about. But there is another thinking that says, let us be felt at every meeting on climate change. So I wanted to inform my learned friend and my colleague here that the president of Kenya stated very clearly that we must be present in every meeting so that our position as Africa is felt, and even country position. So Kenya will very much be there. I wanted to allay those fears. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Kajwang, kindly proceed to conclude.
I appreciate that information from Senator Mungatana. And Mr. Speaker, I conclude by saying that I could have many things or many areas where I disagree with the president. But when it comes to climate change and climate action, that is an area that our interests converge. And that is an area where when we are called upon to undertake action, when we are called upon to work together, it's an area that we should approach in a bipartisan manner, because it afflicts all of us, irrespective of our political convictions. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, I had skipped a statement by the senator from Ranga. So kindly, Senator New, to proceed to make a statement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations regarding the safety and evacuation of Kenyans stranded in Sudan following the security situation in the country. In the statement, the committee should, 1, outline the actions being taken by the government to ensure the safety of Kenyans currently in Sudan. 2, state the number of Kenyans evacuated from Sudan since the conflict started in the country. And 3, explain plans by the government to safely and swiftly evacuate the remaining Kenyans. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senators, before I call upon the clerk to call the next order, allow me to make this communication. I would like to acknowledge the presence in the public gallery this afternoon, visiting teachers and students from Ngurueni Secondary School, Murang'a County. The group comprises 1 teacher and 154 students who are in the Senate for a 1-day academic exposition. Honorable Senators, in our tradition of receiving and welcoming visitors to Parliament, I extend a warm welcome to them, and on behalf of the Senate and on my own behalf, wish them a fruitful visit. Honorable Newto, kindly take under 1 minute to welcome the guests.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to welcome teachers and students from Gurueni Secondary School, which happens to be in my county of Murang'a. Mr. Speaker, this is a school located in a ward called Gaichanjiru in Kandara constituency. It is a day school and a mixed school, Mr. Speaker, and so we have both boys and girls, but as they were getting in, I was able to see that girls far outnumber the boys in this particular school, Mr. Speaker. And probably this is a matter that all of us should start thinking about, Mr. Speaker, because I think the male gender is at risk. I also noted that girls were the first ones to get in, and the boys were taking a back seat. This is something that, as a former boy and now man, Mr. Speaker, must concern me. However, I welcome these students to this school, Mr. Speaker. This is a big day secondary school, and it is a school whose future is very bright. I want to take this opportunity to encourage these boys and girls that yes, the future is very bright, that yes, you can make it in Gurueni, because we know many, many students that have made it to join the university from day schools, and this is going to be possible with Gurueni. Mr. Speaker, if you allow me, because I'm a high school teacher also, and every time that I get an opportunity to speak to students from a mixed school, I like, Mr. Speaker, especially talking to girls and telling them that the boys that they attend school with, chances are that they are not going to be their husbands, Mr. Speaker. And so I normally advise girls to concentrate on their studies, because, and boys don't like it when I say this, and I say it so many times, every time, like I've said, that I get an opportunity. But Mr. Speaker, as we appreciate our boys, we must tell our girls to take care, because at this age, adolescence, this is a risky age. And so, Mr. Speaker, without taking much of Senate time, I welcome again the boys and girls from Gurueni Secondary School, and I thank the teachers for choosing the Senate. Here is where we make laws, especially those concerning counties. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
What is your point of order, Senator Crystal?
Thank you very much.
You know the risk of talking for so long. You expose yourself to points of order.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I welcome the students as well to the House. However, I feel as though the direction in which this advice to young female students is not going to the right place. Mr. Speaker, he's saying specifically to the girls that they should focus, implying that it is up to us, our obligation as girls, as women, to temper the adolescent the adolescent wants and needs of young boys. Why doesn't he tell the boys, hey boys, why don't you focus on yourselves, and girls, you focus on yourselves, rather than putting the burden on young girls as if it is their duty? It's not my duty as a young woman or a young girl to to stave off the young men and fend them off. That's the wrong message that he's sending. As a teacher, Mr. Speaker, as a champion of inclusive education, he should be refraining, I feel, very strongly from that line and that direction. I thank you.
Valid concern. Next order, Clerk. Honorable Senators, at this juncture, allow me to rearrange the sequence of today's business. That is pursuant to Standing Order 45-2. To start with order number 9, 10, 11, and then we resume as per the order paper. Clerk, kindly call call the orders as rearranged.
Order number 10, Committee of the Whole, the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 5 of 2022. Order number 10, Committee of the Whole, the Natural Resources Benefit Sharing Bill, Senate Bills number 6 of 2022. Order number 11, Committee of the Whole, the Preservation of Human Dignity and Enforcement of Economic and Social Rights Bill, Senate Bills number 7 of 2022.
Chair Jelak, kindly approach the table. Is this? Honorable Senators, let's start this business. The Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 5 of 2022.
Clause 2. I propose the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. The Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights have some amendments. So, Chair, move your amendment.
Thank you very much, Chair. The committee proposes that Clause 2 of the bill be amended by inserting the words, "The Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Amendment Act," hereinafter referred to as at the beginning of the introductory clause. Therefore, insertion of that amendment of that particular clause, Mr. Speaker, under the terms of what I've just read.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Honorable Senators, I propose the question that clause 2 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 2 be amended as proposed. So there is a division. We shall do that later.
Clause 3.
I propose the question that clause 3 be part of the bill. I put the question that clause 3 be part of the bill. Division will be done later on.
Clause 4.
I propose the question that clause 4 be part of the bill. The Chair Jailak, you have also an amendment on this clause 4?
Yes, Chair. I propose that Clause 4 of the bill be amended as follows. A, in the introductory clause, by deleting the words Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Act hereinafter referred to as the, appearing immediately after the word the. B, by deleting the proposed new section 23A and substituting therefore the following new section. 23A, in this part, comma, responsible officer means A, a cabinet secretary, B, a county governor, C, the chairperson of a commission established under the Constitution, D, the auditor general, E, the controller of budget, F, the chairperson and the accounting officer of a corporate body, and G, a public officer to whom a resolution or report of a House or a committee of Parliament is submitted in accordance with this Act. Chairman, under C, in the proposed new section, by remunerating or rather renumbering the existing provision as subsection 1 and 2, inserting the following new subsection immediately after the new subsection 1. That is 2, a person liable for an offense under subsection 1 shall be personally liable for the fine, and public funds shall not be used to pay such a fine.
Thank you, Chair. So, Honorable Senators, I propose the question that clause 4 be amended as proposed. I don't see an interest to any comment. So I put the question that clause 4 be amended as proposed. So division will be done later.
New clause 3A.
Chair Jailak, approves the table first.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to propose that the bill be amended by inserting the following new clause 3A immediately after clause 3. 3A. Section 16 of the Principal Act is amended in paragraph D by deleting the expression 38 appearing immediately after the words under section and substituting therefore the expression 37. And Mr. Chairman, I propose that since this is a new introduction to the bill, I move that it be read a second time.
Well, very well. Therefore, senators, honorable senators, I propose the question that new clause 3A be read a second time. I put the question that new clause 3A be read the second time. There will be a division later on.
The title and clause 1.
I propose the question that the title and clause 1 be part of the bill. I put the question that the title and clause 1 be part of the bill. Division at the end.
Before we move to the next bill, we will now want to report so that
Honorable senators, from my seat, we have no numbers to go to division. And therefore, I request that we proceed to report and ask the mover to move the bill.
Mr. Chairman, Honorable Chairperson, pursuant to Standing Order number 153, I beg to move that the committee do report progress on its consideration of the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 5 of 2022, and seek leave to sit again tomorrow. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, mover. So, honorable senators, I put the question that the committee do report progress on its consideration of the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 5 of 2022, and seek leave to sit again tomorrow. As many as of that opinion say aye. Aye. As many as of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Yeah, now let's proceed to the next bill. This is the Natural Resources Benefit Sharing Bill, Senate Bills number 6 of 2022. Him to I want him to approach the chair.
Clause 3.
Honorable Senators, I propose the question that clause 3 be part of the bill. Chair Lance.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I propose that clause 3 be amended as listed in the order paper.
I propose the question that clause 3 be amended as proposed. Senator Manzo, do you want to speak on this amendment? Okay, therefore,
Amendment is subsumed in the amendment by the committee.
there was an amendment by Nakuru Senator, Senator Tabitha Keroche, but since the amendment actually has been taken care of by the committee, so we drop that amendment.
Clause 4 and amendment to heading to part 2.
Honorable Senators, I propose the question that clause 4 and amendment to ending of part 2 be part of the bill. Chair Lance.
Mr. Chairman, I propose that clause 4 be amended as listed in the order paper and the heading to part 2 of clause 4.
I propose the question that clause 4 and amendment to heading of part 2 be amended as proposed. So I put the question that clause 4 and amendment of ending of part 2 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
Clause 5.
I propose the question that clause 5 be part of the bill. Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I propose that clause 5 of the bill be amended by deleting clause 5.
Honorable Senators, I propose the question that the clause 5 be deleted. I put the question that the clause 5 be deleted. Division at the end.
Clause 6.
I propose that clause 6 be part of the bill. Chairperson again.
Honorable Chairperson, I propose that clause 6 be amended as listed in the order paper.
I propose the question that clause 6 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 6 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
Clause 7.
I propose the question that clause 7 be part of the bill. Chairperson.
Honorable Chairperson, I propose that clause 7 be amended as listed in the order paper.
I propose the question that clause 7 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 7 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
Clause 8.
I propose the question that clause 8 be part of the bill. Chairperson.
Honorable Chairperson, I propose that clause 8 be amended as listed in the order paper.
I propose the question that clause 8 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 8 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
Clause 9.
I propose the question that clause 9 be part of the bill. I put the question that clause 9 be part of the bill. Division at the end.
Clause 10.
I propose the question that clause 10 be part of the bill. Chairperson.
Honorable Chairperson, I propose that clause 10 be amended as listed in the order paper.
I propose the question that clause 10 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 10 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
Clause 11.
I propose that clause 11 be part of the bill. Chairperson.
Honorable Chairperson, I propose that clause 11 of the bill be amended in paragraph 1 by inserting the words "in consultation with the respective local community and upon conducting public participation" before the words "negotiate the terms."
I propose the question that clause 11 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 11 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
Clause 12.
I propose the question that clause 12 be part of the bill. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, sir, I propose that clause 12 of the bill be amended in subclause 2 by deleting the word "commission" appearing immediately after the words "deposited with the" and substituting "therefore" with the word "authority."
Okay, thank you. I propose the question that clause 12 be amended as proposed. I put the question that clause 12 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
Clause 13.
I propose the question that clause 13 be part of the bill. Chairperson.
Honorable Chairperson, I propose that clause 13 of the bill be amended in subclause 3 by inserting the words "be appointed by the respective county executive committee member responsible for matters relating to natural resources," and immediately after the words "sharing for forum shall."
I propose the question that clause 13 be amended as proposed. And honorable senators, you realize that when I put the question is that there are no senator who is interested to make a comment or to contribute to the amendments. So I put the question that clause 13 be amended as proposed. Division at the head.
Clause 14.
I propose the question that clause 14 be part of the bill. Chair.
Honorable Chairperson, I propose that clause 14 be amended as listed in the order paper.
I propose the question that clause 14 be amended as proposed. I put the question that the clause 14 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
Clause 15.
I propose the question that clause 15 be part of the bill. I put the question that clause 15 be part of the bill. Division at the end.
Clause 16.
I propose the question that clause 16 be part of the bill. Chairperson.
Honorable Chairperson, I propose that clause 16 of the bill be amended in subclause 1 by deleting the word "commission" appearing immediately after the words "furnished to the" in the paragraph A and substituting "therefore" the word "authority."
I propose the question that clause 16 be amended as proposed. So, honorable senators, I put the question that clause 16 be amended as proposed. Division at the head.
Clause 17.
I propose the question that clause 17 be part of the bill. Chairperson.
Honorable Chairperson, I propose that clause 17 be amended as listed in the order paper.
I propose the question that the clause 17 be amended as proposed. Senator Kipsang William.
Honorable Speaker,
Kisang William.
Honorable Chair, I rise to support this transitional clause to ensure those who already have licenses to exploit natural resources continue to enjoy the same. Honorable Speaker, I support.
I put the question that the clause 17 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
Clause 18.
I propose the question that clause 18 be part of the bill. Chairperson.
Honorable Chairperson, I propose that clause 18 of the bill be amended in subclause 1 by inserting the words "in consultation with the authority and the Council of County Governors" immediately after the word "Cabinet Secretary may."
Thank you. I propose the question that clause 18 be amended as proposed. Again, Senator William Kisang.
Honorable Chair, I also rise to support the amendments by the Chair because, these natural resources are exploited in the counties. So in the past, the county governments were not there. It was only consulting with the Cabinet Secretary. But because this is a county issue, this law affects the county, so it's important that the Council of Governors, especially where the natural resource is exploited, that particular county should be consulted. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Support.
Very well. I put the question that clause 18 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
Clause 19.
I propose the question that clause 19 be part of the bill. Chairperson.
Honorable Chairperson, I propose that clause 19 be amended as listed in the order paper.
So, honorable senators, I propose the question that the clause 19 be amended as proposed. Senator Mugatana Danson.
Mr. Chairman, this is a very good proposal. Mr. Chairman, this is actually the crux of this bill, because under the Mining Act, you would see that there were different formulas for distributing the benefit. When you go to the Petroleum Act, there was also a different method of apportioning benefit to the communities. Now this one has sort of like tried to streamline the benefit sharing formula so that every Kenyan can understand it. I support, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Mugatana. Therefore, honorable senators, I put the question that the clause 19 be amended as proposed. Division at the end.
New clause 5A. Sorry, new clause 5.
Mover. Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I beg to move that new clause 5 be read a second time, Mr. Chairman. It is establishment and management of the benefit sharing authority. There is established the benefit sharing authority. The authority shall be a body corporate with perpetual succession and a common seal, and shall in its corporate name be capable of suing and being sued, taking and purchasing or otherwise acquiring, holding, charging and disposing of movable and immovable property, borrowing or lending money, and doing or performing such other things or acts for the proper performance of its function under this act, which may be lawfully done or performed by a body corporate.
Thank you. I propose the question that new clause 5 be now learned a second time. I put the question that new clause 5. Oh no, he has just come late. Okay, Senator Mugatana.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, this authority is a very important authority that has been established. And when you look at the earlier formation, it was a bit cumbersome, because it seemed like there were committees that were to be formed both at the local and the national level. But when the committee now, through the chair, proposes that we have a centralized authority, and this authority deals with benefit sharing the whole of Kenya, Mr. Speaker, I think this is a very good proposal, because this is where all the divisions of the benefits, whether it be resources from the extractives, whether it be resources, natural resources that are occurring on top of the ground. Mr. Speaker, this authority will also create a knowledge reservoir. Instead of various committees coming up just for the purposes of benefit sharing, this authority within it will create a knowledge reservoir so that many people and different parts of the country that will have issues of benefit sharing, they will have a place, and we will develop the capacity like it is in other countries. Mr. Chairman, also, I note with much appreciation that it has not also been left floating. The issue of dispute resolution has been dealt with, and I think that was a very good suggestion, so that this authority has been given the power to resolve disputes. So if a community in Tana River is having maybe mining issues with the exploiters, it is not left hanging, or it is not left to courts, ordinary courts, to resolve these matters. There will be a specific authority that will have the first say at resolving disputes, and this goes to every part of the country. And Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, joined with the knowledge reservoir of dispute resolution that will be created by this act, I am sure that it will serve a better way to resolve the disputes that are very many in this area of benefit sharing of resources that are extracted from our different counties. I support, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Mugatana. I now put the question that new clause 5 be now read a second time, division at the end.
New clause 5A.
Chairperson.
Honorable Chairperson, I move that new clause 5A be read a second time. 5A is the functions of the authority. The functions of the authority shall be, 1, to coordinate the preparation of the benefit sharing agreements between the affected county and the affected entity. B, review and where appropriate determine the royalties payable by an affected entity engaged in natural resources exploitation. C, identify counties that are required to enter into a benefit sharing agreement under this act in consultation with the respective county governments. D, oversee the administration of funds set aside for community projects to be implemented under a benefit sharing agreement. E, facilitate and monitor the implementation of a benefit sharing agreement entered into between a county government and an affected entity. F, conduct research regarding the exploitation and development of natural resources and benefit sharing in Kenya. G, determine appeals arising out of conflicts regarding the preparation and implementation of benefit sharing agreements. H, advise the national government of the policy and the enactment of legislation relating to benefit sharing in resource exploitation. I, oversee the establishment of benefit sharing committees and forums established under this act. J, ensure proper and timely payment of funds to counties and local communities as provided under this act. K, build the capacity of local communities in negotiation for benefit sharing and implementation of related projects. L, prepare national guidelines on benefit sharing in consultation with the relevant stakeholders. M, identify in consultation with sector-specific organizations incentives and benefits to promote the conservation of natural resources. N, promote value addition in natural resources. O, promote local content initiatives on the exploitation and exploration and exploitation of natural resources under this act. And P, promote the restoration of the environment after the exploitation of a natural resource in an affected county. Number 2, the authority may, in furtherance of its functions, collaborate with others, with such other bodies or organizations within or outside Kenya as it may consider necessary for the better performance of its functions under this act. 3, the authority shall have regard to the following in the performance of its function. A, all existing laws regulating the natural resources sector in Kenya. B, all existing arrangements for benefit sharing between local communities and unaffected entity under the law, under any law in Kenya. And C, obligations imposed on Kenya under any international treaty or agreement relating to the exploitation of natural resources. I beg to move, Mr.
Members, I now propose the question that new clause 5A be now read a second time. I put the question that new clause 5A be now read a second time, division at the end.
New clause 5B.
Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I beg to move that new clause 5B be read a second time. The management of the authority shall vest in a board which consists of A, chairperson appointed by the President with the approval of Parliament. B, the principal secretary responsible for finance or a designated representative. C, the principal secretary responsible for mining or designated representative. D, the principal secretary responsible for petroleum or a designated representative. E, the principal secretary responsible for energy or a designated representative. F, two persons of opposite gender nominated by the Council of County Governors to represent such communities as the Council shall determine. G, one person nominated by a registered association representing a majority of the members of the county assembly. And Mr. Chairman, if you would allow me, just as it appears on the order paper.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I now propose the question that new clause 5B be now read a second time. And I put the question that new clause 5B be now read a second time. Division at the end.
New clause 5C.
Chairperson. Yes, Senator Mugatana, what's your point of order?
Chairman, I think you're moving too fast because some of these things are so critical because this is a new clause. And specifically, you wanted to make comments on clause 5B.
Very well. Actually, there were no indication on anyone other than right now I can see Honorable Senator Kisang.
No, I was there. Uncle, I met, look, I wanted to press.
There was no one as at that time, but nonetheless, your point of order is taken. We will
allow us, Mr. Chairman, to just say a few things.
Very well.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chairman.
Very well.
This constitution of the board is very innovative. The reason I support it is because it has taken specific interest in the counties. If you look at it, Mr. Chairman, there is proposed a person, two persons nominated by the Council of Governors of either gender. In fact, Mr. Chairman, apart from the Council of Governors, to represent communities. And there is also one person nominated by the assemblies or the organization of MCAs in this country. So, Mr. Chairman, we believe that this board would serve its purpose. It's not the usual boards that simply have permanent secretaries or they have cabinet secretaries. There is a specific application to allow for members of county assemblies as well as the Council of Governors to be part and parcel of this board. And I think that is a very good thing, and I support. I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Kisang.
Actually, Chair, I wanted to raise the same sentiments. You know, this is a very important authority that is going to ensure that the counties benefit, the community benefit. So it was important that we have representatives from the Council of Governors and the county assemblies. Chair, you know, in the past, you saw what Senator for Turkana, Senator Lomenen was complaining about oil that was exported, and Turkana County didn't get anything. So as we also do the regulations for this particular bill, law later on, as soon as it is signed into a law, Honorable Chair, we need to ensure, even from the beginning, before as the investors recoup the investments, the counties and the communities also should get something, even if it is small at the beginning, progressively, so that you know what the counties are getting at the beginning and the community is small, then the investors take a lot of to recoup the investments, and then with time, the counties and the community will surpass what they would have gotten originally, so that, you know, counties benefit, we benefit, because these are natural resources that God gave communities, especially where they are not endowed with rain. I'm saying this, Honorable Chair, because I know soon, close by in Elgeyo-Marakwet County, there is already an expression of interest by Ministry of Mining, and I am hoping this law is fast-tracked so that by the time an investor comes in, this law will be in effect. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Chair.
Thank you very much, Senator Kisang. Honorable members, I now put the question that new clause 5B be now read a second time, division at the end.
New clause 5C.
Chairperson.
Mr. Chairman, sir, I wish to propose that clause 5C on tenure of office be read a second time as it appears on the order paper. Mr. Chairman, if you'd indulge me, all the other new clauses that are appearing all the way to Q are in regard to the authority. So it is exactly what we have read about the functions. So that's why I say that we, just as it appears on the order paper.
I now propose the question that new clause 5C be now read a second time. Honorable Kisang. Sorry, Honorable William Cheptumo. Sorry.
Chair, I wanted to contribute to the previous amendment. No, this one. I just wanted to say something to the other one, which had just been concluded. So.
Very well. Just go ahead. Okay. Thank you, Senator Cheptumo. So I now put the question that new clause 5C be read a second time, division at the end.
New clause 5D.
Chairperson.
Mr. Chairman, sir, I propose that new clause 5D on qualifications for appointment be now read a second time as it appears on the order paper.
Honorable members, I propose the question that new clause 5D be now read a second time. I put the question. Yes, Senator Boni Halwale.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate what this clause is attempting to achieve. It's good for people to have at least a university degree. But when we move on and say you should have some knowledge of at least 7 years experience in all these things. Mr. Chairman, as somebody from a gold mining community, it concerns me. We might run the risk that in my community, you might not have somebody with this experience. Yes, has a degree, but they don't have that experience. So we'll be locked out and the bill will not have achieved. So I don't know how we want to deal with it, but let it be on record that I'm worried about it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Boni Halwale. I now put the question that new clause 5D be now read a second time, division at the end.
New clause 5E.
Honorable Chairperson.
Mr. Chairman, sir, I beg to move that new clause 5E on vacation of office be read the second time as it appears on the order paper.
Thank you, Chairman. Honorable members, I propose the question that new clause 5E be now read a second time. I put the question that new clause 5E be now read a second time, division at the end.
New clause 5F.
Honorable Chairperson.
Mr. Chairman, sir, I propose that new clause 5F on powers of the board be read a second time as it appears on the order paper.
I now propose the question that new clause 5F be now read a second time. The Honorable Senator Mungatana, Danson Buya.
Mr. Chairman, I stand to support this particular clause. Mr. Chairman, the original format of the bill was a bit unclear as to who would be entering those resource sharing benefit contracts. It was like they needed to go. The initiator was the CEC in charge of treasury in the counties, together with the local communities. And then they were to finally take this to the national treasury. It was a bit cumbersome. But in this particular proposal, it is clear that it is this board, the authority and its board, would enter contracts and prepare these contracts for resource benefit sharing with the communities. And this makes it much, much faster, much, much easier. And I think it would change the whole resource sharing sector between the local communities at the county level and this particular authority. I support, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Yes, Senator Oburu.
Mr. Chairman, I'm very sorry. You know, it escaped, you moved a little fast on this 5E. I just had you moving to 5,
Senator.
and I was just concerned. I just wanted some clarity on the issue of conviction. That if somebody is convicted on a criminal offense and sentenced to a term of imprisonment of not less than 6 months, Mr. Chairman, if somebody is convicted of a criminal offense of, say, 3 months, you mean he will just continue to serve? How do you, if you are convicted and jailed? I think it should be, if you are given a custodial sentence of even 1 month, you cannot continue to serve. If you are, but anyway, I don't know why they are putting it
May
as
you
6
allow
months.
the chairperson to maybe make comments or remarks about the justification of the 6 months by the committee? Honorable Chairperson, any remarks on it?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, sir, what this particular subsection speaks to, I would want to invite the senator to read the heading of it. The chairperson or a member of the board appointed under this section shall become vacant if the person is. So it's the same thing for us members of parliament. If you have convicted for more than 6 months, your position becomes vacant. It's the same thing for the board member. If you're a board member of this board and you're convicted for any offense, you're convicted for 6 or more months, your position becomes vacant. If you're convicted for 3 months, you shall serve your term and come back and continue. The same case that it is for any member of parliament. If you're convicted yourself, Dr. Oburu Odinga, to a sentence of 3 or 4 months, you shall go serve your term and come back as senator and continue. That was the thinking.
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the thinking, but It is not, it's very skewed. Me, I'm elected by 285,000 people here.
These
are people who are
noted,
appointed,
Honourable
and
Senator.
on issues of appointment, you really don't give people so much leeway that they are convicted. Me, I've been a civil servant, and I know that once you are convicted of a criminal offense, you don't continue to serve as a civil servant. You don't go and serve a sentence of 3 months and then come back and continue to serve in a board. That, I think, is not right.
That's noted, Senator. I believe the Honourable Chairperson has noted your comments. Honourable members, I now put the question that new clause 5F be now read a second time, division at the end.
New clause 5G.
Honourable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and I really thank the Senator for here. That is something that I'm very persuaded. Whatever you're pursuing is the right position. In my opinion, I think it is, whatever you're saying is the right position. Once you're convicted, you're not a good person. You're supposed to vacate your office. Mr. Chairman, sir, I propose that a new clause 5G on committees of the board be now read a second time as it appears on the order paper.
Honourable members, I propose the question that new clause 5G be now read a second time. And I put the question that new clause 5G be now read a second time, division at the end.
New clause 5H.
Honourable Chairperson.
Honourable Chairperson, I propose that a new clause 5H on powers to delegate be now read a second time as it appears on the order paper.
Honourable members, I propose the question that new clause 5H be now read a second time. And I put the question that new clause 5H be now read a second time, division at the end.
New clause 5I.
Honourable Chairperson. Honourable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I hereby move that new clause 5I on remuneration and allowances be now read a second time as it appears on the order paper.
I propose the question that new clause 5I be now read a second time. And I put the question that new clause 5I be now read a second time, division at the end.
New clause 5J.
Honourable Chairperson.
Mr. Chairman, sir, I hereby move that new clause 5J on the conduct of business and affairs of the board be now read a second time as it appears on the order paper.
Honourable members, I propose the question that new clause 5J be now read a second time. I put the question that new clause 5J be now read a second time, division at the end.
New clause 5K.
Honourable Chairperson.
Mr. Chairman, sir, I hereby move that a new clause 5K on the Office of the Director General be now read a second time as it appears on the order paper.
Honourable members, I propose the question that new clause 5K be now read a second time. The Honourable Senator Mungatana.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to propose that the record should reflect so that the intention of the legislation can be known in case interpretation comes. People are seeking interpretation that this person who is being recruited, the wording saying has knowledge and at least 10 years experience in law, environment management, economics, it should be understood to to mean it is either of those. Because the way it is, it's like it could be, someone can correctly interpret, say he must be having experience, 10 years experience in law, also 10 years experience in environmental management, also 10 years experience in economics. In fact, the only thing it says, or any other related field, and this is what was worrying the Honorable Senator Boni Khalwale when he was saying that from his mining, gold mining area, it could be that all these people, this qualification, he may lock out his people. So I want it on record that any of these should be understood to mean that they qualify. If they have the degree and they have 10 years experience in law or 10 years experience in environmental management and those listed areas. I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Mungatana. Could you approach the chair? Yes, Senator Oburu, as Mungatana approaches the chair.
Yeah. He's talking as a chair.
You are.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, proceed.
Mr. Chairman, I support this amendment, but I'm only concerned about this long period of experience of 10 years. Mr. Chairman, it is actually an act of exclusion when we put very long periods of experience. And you are excluding the youth. We want the youth to come up in leadership. And a youth who will have 10 years experience is really, you are just giving these jobs to people of our age. I think this period of 10 years has been there in our laws, in our statutes for too long, and it is a time we consider reducing this, because when you advertise and you state 10 years, and the young people, they look at it and they just say, this is not for us. This is something for people who have worked and almost retired. Because, Mr. Chairman, it takes a long time for people to acquire these qualifications, and by the time they are qualified, they are somewhere 35 or so to be specialists, and then by the time they have 10 years, they will be over running to 50 years. And Mr. Chairman, I don't think that is a very fair provision. But anyway, I'm not proposing an amendment.
Thank you,
I'm just giving my comment.
Senator Oburu. Indeed, the clause that you have spoken to, that is clause 5K, will be recommitted so that your comments and concerns about the number of years required is reconsidered, so that the objective of that particular clause is achieved, and also accommodate the youth that you have made reference to in order for them to qualify. Indeed, the chairperson is indicating that even after he serves 10 years here, he will not be qualified if he was to seek for that position because of the requirement of the 10 years that has been put in the bracket. I thank you for that. Honorable members, I now put the question that new clause 5K be now read a second time, division at the end.
New clause 5L.
Honorable Chairperson.
I thank Dr. Oburu Odinga for that very insight. In fact, I'm very happy that it has been recommitted, because I was even locking myself out of that job. Even after serving as senator for 5 years, I cannot qualify to become Director General of that board. So thank you very much for that, and it shall be looked into. Mr. Chairman, sir, I hereby move that a new clause 5L on tenure of office of the Director General be now read a second time as it appears on the order paper.
Honorable members, I propose the question that new clause 5L be now read a second time. I put the question that new clause 5L be now read a second time, division at the end.
New clause 5M.
Honorable Chairperson.
Honorable Chairperson, I hereby move that a new clause 5M on the functions of the Director General be now read a second time as it appears on the order paper.
Honorable members, I propose the question that new clause 5M be now read a second time. I put the question that new clause 5M be now read a second time, division at the end.
New clause 5N.
Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I hereby move that a new clause 5N on the tenure of office of the Director General be now read a second time as it appears on the order paper.
I propose the question that new clause 5N be now read a second time. And I put the question that new clause 5N be now read a second time, division at the end.
New clause 5O.
The Honorable Chairperson.
Honorable Chairperson, I hereby move that a new clause 5O on the common seal of the authority be now read a second time as it appears on the order paper.
Honorable members, I propose the question that new clause 5O be now read a second time. And I put the question that new clause 5O be now read a second time, division at the end.
New clause 5P.
Honorable Chairperson.
Mr. Chairman, sir, I hereby move that new clause 5P on the staff of the authority be now read a second time as it appears on the order paper.
I propose the question that new clause 5P be now read a second time. Honorable Mungatana.
Mr. Chairman, I support that clause 5P. But this is not an ordinary board, Mr. Chairman. This board, we must put a clause there that actually forces the board to recruit with regional balance in mind. Why? Because, Mr. Chairman, the likelihood of this organization having claims from all over the country is very, very high. Because from Turkana to here in Nakuru on geothermal issues, to Baringo, or the issues I was raising about the lake, things that are being taken away by the jeans manufacturing company, to Tana River, where we are talking about gypsum mining, to the coast coal mining. We would want an authority that specifically is forced to recruit, being sensitive to regional balance. I wanted, Mr. Speaker, that Mr. Chairman, that we find a wording that will box this authority. Why? Because, Mr. Chairman, there has been accusations that some authorities, in fact, people speak in mother tongue, and they exclude other people. But this is such an important authority, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, that it must have a spread. It would be so bad for the Senator of Tana River to have fought for this, and then there is not a single person from Tana River County employed in this authority when it starts working. Why? Because it happens, and I have many examples I can give you, that authorities, Mr. Speaker, they have been converted into tribal organizations in some places, and some places they even speak mother tongue. So we don't want this authority, because this authority is too important for us to leave it to just the board. The board must have a regional balance in terms of recruitment. We want to find the wording, not the way it is. Mr. Chairman, maybe I will stand guided how we'll do it. Maybe we recommit, I don't know. I submit. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mungatana. The comments you've made as regards new clause 5P shall be recommitted. And I now put the question that new clause 5P be read now a second time, division at the end.
New clause 5Q.
Honorable Chairperson.
I thank you, Mr. Chairman, for recommitting clause 5P. I'm sure because even the Senator for Kiambu had sought an intervention, he would want to have a clause in it that will give the board not only a lot of leeway, that they can be able to even give opportunities to the youth and women in terms of recruitment, as has been the case for every other government agency. Mr. Chairman, sir, I move that new clause 5Q on protection from personal ability be now read a second time as it appears on the order paper.
I propose the question that new clause 5Q be now read a second time. And I put the question that new clause 5Q be now read a second time, division at the end.
New clause 5R.
Honorable Chairperson.
Mr. Chairman, sir, I hereby move that a new clause 5R on the liability of the authority be now read a second time as it appears on the order paper.
Honorable members, I propose the question that new clause 5R be now read a second time. And I put the question that new clause 5R be now read a second time, division at the end.
New clause 14.
Honorable Chairperson.
Mr. Chairman, sir, I hereby move that a new clause 14A on the financial year be read a second time as it appears on the order paper.
Honorable members, I now propose the question that new clause 14A be now read a second time. And I put the question that new clause 14A be now read a second time, division at the end.
New clause 14B.
Honorable Chairperson.
Honorable Chairman, I hereby move that a new clause 14B on accounts be read a second time as it appears on the order paper.
Honorable members, I propose the question that new clause 14B be now read a second time. I put the question that new clause 14B be now read a second time, division at the end.
New clause 14C.
Honorable Chairperson.
Honorable Chairperson, I hereby move that a new clause 14C on the annual report be now read a second time as it appears on the order paper.
Honorable members, I propose the question that new clause 14C be now read a second time. And I put the question that new clause 14C be now read a second time, division at the end.
New clause 20.
The Honorable Chairperson.
Honorable Chairperson, I hereby move that a new clause section 20, an amendment to section 7 of Act number 47 of 2013, be now read a second time as it appears on the order paper.
I propose. Thank you very much, the Honorable Chairperson. The new clause 20 had a proposed amendment by the Honorable Senator Tabitha Keroche, who is not in, and the same proposed amendment is indeed subsumed in the chairperson's proposed amendment in the next clause 21, and therefore, for the record, we are dropping the proposed amendment by Senator Tabitha Keroche, and her proposed amendments are fully taken care of in the next proposed amendment by the chairperson. So we move to, we will put the question. Yes, Senator Mugatana,
Yes.
What is your intervention?
Mr. Chairman, I had put my mic on for intervention. Mr. Chairman, this section, the Wildlife Conservation Management Act, amendment of that act, and then it's followed by the amendment you've just referred to on the Energy Act, and also the other one on the Petroleum Management Act, on the Petroleum Act. Mr. Chairman, this really captures the whole essence of this bill. This bill, Mr. Chairman, is about streamlining how all the resources would be benefiting to the nation and the communities. So it's not a question of under Petroleum Act, you have a different formula. Wildlife Management Act, you have a different formula. And all these other acts, under the Energy Act, a different formula. Now we have a bill that says this is the way we are going to be sharing natural resources. And I really want to support these particular clauses because they capture the spirit of what this law, this proposed new law is about. I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Mugatana. Honorable members, I now put the question that new clause 20 be now read a second time, division at the end.
New clause 21.
The Honorable Chairperson.
Mr. Chairman, sir, I hereby move that new clause 21, an amendment to section 85 of Act number 1 of 2019, be now read a second time as it appears on the order paper.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman. I now propose the question that new clause 29 be now read a second time. 21, sorry. I propose the question that new clause 21 be now read a second time. I put the question that new clause 21 be now read a second time, division at the end.
New clause 22.
The Honorable Chairperson.
Honorable Chairman, Honorable Chairperson, I hereby move that new clause 22, an amendment to section 58 of Act number 2 of 2019, be now read a second time as it appears on the order paper.
I propose the question that new clause 22 be now read a second time. I put the question that new clause 22 be now read a second time, division at the end.
New schedule.
The Honorable Chairperson.
Honorable Chairperson, I hereby move the new schedule on provisions as to the conduct of business and affairs of the Board of the Benefit Sharing Authority be now read a second time as it appears on the order paper.
And I propose the question that the new schedule be now read a second time. I put the question that the new schedule be now read a second time, division at the end.
Clause 2.
The Honorable Chairperson.
Mr. Chairman, sir, I hereby move that clause 2 be amended as per the order paper.
Honorable members, I propose the question that clause 2 be amended as proposed. And I put the question that clause 2 be amended as proposed, division at the end.
The title and clause 1.
The Honorable Chairperson. I propose the question that the title and clause 1 be part of the bill. And I put the question that the title and clause 1 be part of the bill, division at the end. Senator Mungatana, could you kindly approach the table? Honorable members, before we move on to report the Committee of the Whole, I would like to indicate that we are stepping down consideration in the Committee of the Whole on the bill, the Preservation of Human Dignity and Enforcement of Economic and Social Rights Bill, Senate Bills number 7 of 2022, for purposes of consideration of the proposed amendments which came in, and thereafter we commit it to the committee. Now we are reporting on the progress by the Committee of the Whole on the Natural Resources Benefit Sharing Bill, Senate Bills number 6 of 2022. I call upon the mover, Honorable Senator Mungatana.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Chairperson, pursuant to Standing Order 153, I beg to move that the Committee of the Whole do report progress on its consideration of the Natural Resources Benefit Sharing Bill, Senate Bills number 6 of 2022, and seek leave to sit again tomorrow.
Honorable members, I now put the question that the Committee of the Whole do report progress on its consideration of the Natural Resources Benefit Sharing Bill, Senate Bills number 6 of 2022, and seek leave to sit again tomorrow. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
So I now invite the chairperson to prepare and give the report on Senator Sige.
Madam Speaker, I now report that the Committee of the Whole has considered the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 5 of 2022, and seek leave to sit again tomorrow.
I call upon the mover, Senator Mungatana.
Honorable Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. Thank you.
Seconder. Karungo, Senator Karungo then.
I second.
I propose the question that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. And I now put the question that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. As many as are of contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I call upon the chairperson of the committee, Senator Sige, to report on the bill on natural resources, benefit sharing bill, Senate Bills number 6 of 2022.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole has considered the Natural Resources Benefit Sharing Bill 2022 and seeks leave to sit again tomorrow.
I call upon the mover of the motion,
Honorable Madam Speaker.
Senator Mungatana.
Thank you. Honorable Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee on the said report, subject to recommittal of new clauses 5E, 5G, 5K, and 5P. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Can you invite a seconder, Senator Mungatana?
Madam Speaker, I invite the Honorable Senator for Kiambu to second.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I do second.
I propose the question that the House do agree with the committee in the said report, subject to recommittal of these clauses 5E, 5G, 5K, and 5P. And I put the question that the House do agree with the committee in the said report, subject to recommittal of the clauses in 5E, 5G, 5K, and 5P. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. As many as are of contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. So, Clerk, next order.
Order number 8, the Employment Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 11 of 2022. Second reading, resumption of debate interrupted on Tuesday, 6th June 2022. Mover to reply.
We will defer that bill, the resumption of debate, as the mover is not here. What is your point of order? Senator Mazayo.
Speaker, I thank you so much. Madam Speaker, I rise on a point of order in accordance with Article 41 of Standing Orders, Sub-Rule 1, which states, if you will allow me with your kind permission, that if at any time in the course of the proceedings of the Senate, a senator objects that there is not a quorum present, the Speaker or the chairperson shall count the senators present in the Senate or the committee as the case may be. I don't want to go to the second one because the second one involves you. I would leave it at that and request that if you could be kind enough to take note of that and make a decision or make a ruling on it. I thank you.
What is your comment?
Madam Speaker, I do not stand to disagree with the provisions of the standing order on the quorum of this House, Madam Speaker. But in the same spirit, I am looking at the side of the opposition from which the very distinguished senator is a leader. He is the only one in the chambers. Just one person out of the many who are in the opposition. So maybe as we ring the quorum bell, it's also a challenge to him as the leader that he should be able to speak to his colleagues, that they should not desert duty and run away, so that we are having this quorum hitches every time.
Senator Medho, you will be out of order because I was going to rule on the issue of quorum. The Senator Mazayo, resume your seat. Resume your seat, I'm dealing with it. Resume your seat, I'm dealing with the proceedings. And I want to deal with the question of quorum that has been raised under Standing Order 41, and there is no quorum in the House. It's confirmed. Can the Sergeant at Arms now ring the bell? There is no quorum for 10 minutes. Honorable Senators, pursuant to Standing Order Honorable Senators, pursuant to Standing Order 41-2A, there being no quorum, the Senate stands adjourned until tomorrow, Thursday, 8 June 2023 at 2:30 p.m.
Good afternoon to you and welcome to the live broadcast of the Senate this afternoon. Our broadcast brought to you courtesy of the collaboration between the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation in conjunction with the Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit. This is the afternoon sitting of the Senate dated 19th of April. The year is 2023, with a full in-tray for members to consider as listed in the order paper this afternoon. The Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly's Bills number 9 of the year 2023, is a bill that senators will be resuming debate on. This particular debate is before senators to consider proposals contained in the bill from the National Assembly, and this particular bill will then, after the conclusion of the allocated time for debate, the House will then move into the Committee of the Whole House, where senators will be considering the Division of Revenue bills, this particular bill being a bill by the Senate leader of the majority party. After the Senate has considered the Division of Revenue Bill, it will then consider the Equalization Funds Appropriations Bill, Bill number 9 of the year 2023. Similarly, this will be a resumption of debates, and this particular bill is by the Chairperson Standing Committee on Matters Finance and Budget. Another bill that senators will be resuming debate on is the Prompt Payment Bill, Senate Bills number 8 of the year 2022 by Senator Mariam Sheikh Omar, that was interrupted on 12th of April on a Wednesday afternoon sitting this year. The Mang Bills, Bill number 13 of the year 2022, as well as the Employment Amendment Bill, Bill number 11 of the year 2022 by Senator Samson Cherargei, and the Agricultural and Livestock Extension Services Bill, Bill number 12 of the year 2022 by Senator Maureen Tabitha Mutinda, as well as the Konza Technopolis Bill, Bill by nominated Senator Gloria Oroba, as well as the Status Bill, Bill number 11 of the year 2022, are bills currently at the second stage, and senators will be making their contributions in regards to the proposals of what is contained in those particular bills. Pass on to Standing Orders number 51, subsection 1 rather. Standing Orders number 52, subsection 1, nominated Senator Hamida Kibwana will be making a statement concerning the state of health and safety in schools following the tragedy at Mukumu Girls High School in Kakamega County. Pass on to Standing Orders number 53, subsection 1 of the Senate, nominated Senator Veronica Maina will be seeking a statement from the Standing Committee on Matters Trade, Industrialization and Tourism regarding the status of the implementation of the Buy Kenya, Build Kenya initiative to increase the competitiveness and the consumption of locally produced goods and services. The business of the Senate is just about to commence. The Deputy Speaker, Honorable Kathuri Murungi, is presiding over the business of the Senate this afternoon. I now hand over for the live broadcast. Enjoy your viewing.
With abundant favor and blessings, as your servants whom you have been pleased to call to leadership positions in this republic, we seek guidance to treat and consider all matters that shall come to under deliberation in so just and faithful manner as to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen. Clerk, confirm whether we have a requisite quorum. To ring the division bell for 5 minutes? Yeah, then we can do 5 more.
The Deputy Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Kathuri Murungi, currently presiding over the business of the Senate this afternoon, has given the Sergeant at Arms the directive to ring the Quorum bell for 5 minutes, and this is to give some room to a section of senators or senators who have not yet made their way into the chamber this afternoon, facilitate the aspect of the Senate having the requisite quorum to commence business this afternoon. Let's now have a look at what is appearing on the order paper this afternoon and pass on to Standing Orders of the Senate, Standing Orders number 53, subsection 1. Similarly, Senator Hamida Kibwana will be seeking a statement from the Standing Committee on Health. And this particular statement concerns the dental and optical healthcare treatment for Kenyans through the National Hospital Insurance Fund. Another senator are set to seek a statement pursuant to this particular standing order is the senator for Marsabit County, Senator Mohamed Shute, who will be seeking a statement from the Standing Committee on Trade, Industrialization and Matters Tourism regarding the status of management of museums and heritage sites in Kenya. Pursuant to Standing Orders number 56, subsection 1, the Chairperson Select Committee on the County Public Accounts Committee, as well as the Chairperson Select Committee on the County Public Investment and Special Funds Committee, and the Chairperson Select Committee on Delegated Legislation will be issuing statements in regards to the activities of the respective committees. A look at the provisions of the Division of Revenue Bill, Bill number 9 of the year 2023. That is a motion being handled by or moved by the Senate Majority Leader at the Senate. There is funds and equalization funds allocation that has been proposed. There appears to be some development at the chamber. Let's listen into what the chair has to say.
One, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
That's from Committee on Devolution.
Mr. Speaker, this is from the Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations.
Proceed and table.
Thank you,
Give
Mr.
notice-
Speaker.
Give notice for motion. Or it's a paper?
It's a paper.
Yeah, okay, proceed.
I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Senate today, 19th April 2023. Report of the Standing Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations on a statement sought by Senator Mwenda Gataya Mofaya, MP, on the relocation of national government administrative services from Chuka Town to Kathwana County Headquarters, Tharaka Nithi County. I hereby lay.
Okay, thank you. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements and questions.
We have a couple of statements. We start this understanding order 52-1. Senator Aminda Kibwana. She has 2 statements under that standing order. So she's not allowed to defer to a later date. And then we proceed to Senator under 53-1. Nominated is Senator Veronica Maina. Also stands defunct. Next is Senator Ngrodi Oroba. Yes, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations regarding the need to protect the identity of Kenyans visiting public buildings and business premises. In the statement, the committee should justify why many businesses do not protect the identity of members of the public when they require security guards to collect and retain original identification documents at the entrance of buildings they visit, rather than noting the names and ID numbers and returning the documents. 2, outline the measures being taken by the Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government to prevent identity theft. And 3, state any plans by the Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government to develop an integrated population registration system, IPRS, that can grant companies access to verify the authenticity of an ID number rather than insisting on use of the physical identity cards. Thank you.
Let us get at least 2 comments. We start with the majority leader.
Mr. Speaker, that's a very interesting proposition that Senator Gloria wants the House to consider. Curiously, I have never really thought about it in the direction that she's pointing us to. On many occasions, when you go to public buildings or even private enterprises, you give out your ID without bothering what somebody else will do. Of course, being street smart over times, and now as a public figure, I rarely give the correct identity card number or even the phone number, because what will happen is that on most occasions, you'd leave your number at a security guard, then later in the evening, after they've left work, you'd find the usual calls that politicians get. Oh, I'm so and so, I work at such a place, you had come to visit, I need this or that favor. So it became quite untidy. But that's a favor that extended to maybe those of us that are public figures and that are known. But what about the people that we represent? Because that's primarily our duty and the reason why we are here. When we passed the data protection bill, Mr. Speaker, we left it we created the Office of the Data Commissioner to be able to look into this kind of things, to ensure that publicly availed data is not used for any purpose other than that for which it was intended. The reason why you give your identification details is for you to be identified. Of course, many of these came to the fore, Mr. Speaker, with the wake of Al-Shabaab and terrorism issues in the country. Unfortunately, this has now become subject to abuse, and you'll find that ordinary Kenyans are later running into trouble for 1, 2, or 3 other reasons, Mr. Speaker, and it's rather unfortunate. So I believe that once the committee, I don't know whether it will be ICT or whichever committee will consider, because this is an issue about data, and we created an office under the State Department, though independent, but administratively under the State Department of ICT, that they'd come and respond and perhaps issue additional regulations of how they intend to curtail this menace, Mr. Speaker, because it's something which, if not properly addressed, then can end up with the kind of situation that Senator Gloria is describing before the House this afternoon, Mr. Speaker, where private data is abused, yet when it was being given out, it was intended for public good, Mr. Speaker. So with very keen interest, Mr. Speaker, expecting to see what the data commissioner will be proposing to the House as a possible solution, so that ordinary citizens don't have to fear. There has to be better information, better ways of managing this information, Mr. Speaker. With those very remarks, I support and appreciate Senator Gloria for bringing this issue to the House.
Thank you, Majority Leader. The order of this statement is requesting the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Affairs to look into this matter. But the way you are now taking also is very relevant, because we have a data commissioner from, I think, last year. So let's have Senator Manzo, Daniel.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when we passed this law, there were clearly that regulations will lie after. And with the work of terrorism, there has been requirement in many places you will drive to. First, they take your car number, then they take your, again also your full details, your telephone number, your full name, and that data is left with a security guard. We may not have captured that in the law we passed, and there may be a need to check that, because that information can be used by people who, even use Safaricom to deal with M-Pesa, or even to con other people pretending that they are you, to open fake Facebook accounts, a lot of things have been done and reports have been made to police, and those cases haven't gotten far. So I think even that time, we had new IDs had been produced, Mr. Speaker, with all the details and what was being called one-stop shop. With one card, all the details of an individual were there, and the question arose, and even there were court cases which first stopped the release of those new IDs. Ourselves, this team came to Parliament and using iPads took all our information. And that card, I remember a chief called me from somewhere in Nairobi and told me, please come and pick your card. But the next time I went to pick the card, the chief was never available, and that all my total data is still lie with some people somewhere. So, Mr. Speaker, I think it's a high time for even security of an individual. And we come up with a way of, once all your details have been taken, then who is responsible? And how can we make sure that it is not misused in one way or another, and especially against your own personal security? Many of us, you will not go to places without being identified, without being known, because you're already a public figure and people know you. Some release you without picking your details, but some insist, we want all your details. And I'm sure at that particular moment, it is not for the best of reasons. So, Mr. Speaker, I think while we consider this, we may need multitasking. You may have the Committee of Interior and maybe the Committee of ICT working together so that whatever proposals come out, we can be able to address them sufficiently. Otherwise, I support the statement, and I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
This is really an interesting statement, and limited to two, but because of the law of supply and demand, let me give two more senators, one this end and the other one from my left. Let us hear this IT guru, Senator William Kipkemoi Kisang.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. You know very well what happened in the last Parliament. When we passed the Data Protection Act 2019, and we already have Office of Data Protection Commissioner in office. So I believe, as members have said, it is good that the two committees, the Committee on ICT and Interior or Security, they look at this matter seriously. Honorable Speaker, there are people who have actually, they have Fuliza, they have taken loan, people using their identification, because when you leave your ID at the security desk, they can photocopy. While you are away for a meeting for an hour or 2 hours, photocopies are taken, they go and register either with the telecommunication providers, either Safaricom, Airtel, or Telcom, and then eventually you'll see yourself that you have Fuliza, and you have not, you know very well you have not done it. So this is a very serious security lapse, and I agree with Senator Gloria that what they need to do is to automate the desks, the security desk in each building, so that they can check, they can do an integration with the IPRS. They don't even need to do a complicated system. They can just use USSD. Those are very easy things to be done, Honorable Speaker, so that at least we save our people. Finally, Honorable Speaker, I believe the Office of Data Protection Commissioner is not well resourced. They don't have enough employees to check on these issues. So hopefully in the course of discussing budget, when we did the other day a budget policy statement, and when the budget itself comes in, we need National Assembly and Treasury and even ourselves to ensure that office is resourced so that they have enough officers to check on data processors and data controllers to ensure they follow the law properly and the regulations are passed. Sometimes regulations take forever at the Office of Attorney General instead of speeding them up so that our people can benefit on this particular data law, Honorable Speaker. I support, and it is good that Gloria has come up with this.
Lastly, Senator Sige Kegei.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for an opportunity to add to the statement sought by Senator Gloria. I support, Mr. Speaker. It's a very progressive statement and very relevant, to be honest. And I congratulate Senator Gloria for bringing this to the House. It also ties in nicely, Mr. Speaker, with previous statements that Gloria has also sought, to which she reminded us of yesterday in the first session of the House, Chair, asking Safaricom and the Communication Authority of Kenya to also divulge some more information regarding data protection in the country. Mr. Speaker, in addition to what has already been contributed by other senators on this statement, I also want to bring the scenario which I have been made aware of through the disabled community, whereby persons with disabilities data is also being abused in the same way as has been spoken. Mr. Speaker, when I go to different forums, people with disabilities give me the experience, lived experience of having their identification at these entrances, shopping malls, office buildings, and so on and so forth, being used to abuse and to register under their names for benefits and different types of reliefs that are accorded to persons with disabilities. Because as you know, Mr. Speaker, there are some special reliefs that are accorded to us as persons with disabilities because of our day-to-day challenges. Mr. Speaker, secondly, these identification cards are also and have also been used in relation to a car registration, because as you know, when you walk into or drive into a shopping mall, your car is identified, and then when you walk into the entrance, you leave your identification card. And so it's very easy for people who are wanting to abuse, wanting to usurp, wanting to otherwise cause havoc to then correlate your ID number with your car registration number, Mr. Speaker, which, as Senator Gloria is seeking, can cause a lot of danger and personal security issues, and maybe even national security issues. Mr. Speaker, I also agree with the majority leader who said that sometimes you're forced to give 1 or 2 numbers that are different on your ID card or your phone number because of personal security. Mr. Speaker, this is something that should be added or probed further by the committees that you will commit this statement to, and I look forward to the receiving the responses by the statement so that we can have supplementary questions and clarifications also made. I thank you.
Let us have the next statement by Senator Edwin Sifuna.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise pursuant to Order 53.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Roads, Transportation and Housing regarding the construction of Ngong Road, a crucial road for residents of Nairobi and the neighboring counties. In the statement, the committee should clarify whether the contractor awarded the tender for the construction of Ngong Road has completed construction works on the road as per the terms of the contract, including the restoration of damaged sections. 2, inform the Senate of the scope of works undertaken by the contractor, stating who is responsible for works on the unfinished sections of the road and measures put in place to ensure that the road, which has been under construction since 2017, is completed to the required standards. And finally, Mr. Speaker, spell out measures to be undertaken by the contractor to address concerns about the incomplete sections of Ngong Road that lack clear markings, lanes that end abruptly, and have insufficient lighting, all of which pose safety hazards. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Before I give some comments, Senator Gloria, your statement is, as we speak, in the Committee on National Security. But if you want to do changes as advised by the majority leader, you can always approach the Liaison Committee to have that decision, to the two committees to look into that matter. Because I can see there's a lot of IT issues. So you are well advised. Senator Ososi, do you want to comment on this statement?
I had wanted to comment on the one on identity.
Okay.
But then we have
Senator Karungo, Dangwapo, Chair rules. What is out of order?
Thank you very much, Chair. I seek your indulgence and guidance. I'm the Chairman, Roads, Transportation, and Housing. And I've just had a member, the Senator for Nairobi, requesting a statement about Gong Road. I seek your indulgence because he's a member of the said committee. Is it in order for a member of the same committee to request a statement to the committee that he belongs, yet those matters probably can be deliberated on during the agendas, AOBs? I seek your guidance.
Chair Loans, you know, the Senator for Nairobi is none other than Senator Sifuna. And he represents the good people of Nairobi County, including my children who use Ngong Road. So he is very much in order to represent his people in this house. And now that you are saying his statement should come and I will be in your committee, you are out of order, Chair. So I think the statement is well praised. So consider it with the need it deserves. Senator Modigi Alexander.
Bwana Speaker,
You want to comment on this statement? Yes. Endelea.
Bwana Speaker, ni asante kwa sababu umejibu mwenyekiti wa parapara, kwa sababu hata wiki jana nisikia mwenyekiti wa agriculture wakati niuliza swali ya makandamia akisimama akitaka kupinga mimi kuuliza swali ya makandamia, na haikuwa mzuri kwa sababu tunajua kama huko mwenyekiti ama mdogo wa mwenyekiti kuna mambo ya mwenyekiti na mambo ya county na mambo ya watu wote wa Kenya, ya mambo yote ya Kenya. Kwa hivyo mimi naunga mkono ule ameuliza swali, hata kama ni mwenyekiti, ndio tusiwe sisi tutakuwa tunafungiwa nje ati kwa sababu hatutaki kuuliza maswali. Kwa hivyo mpaka kila mtu yote awe na mambo ya kuuliza ndio tuweze kufanya kazi nzuri. Asante.
Hapo salama kabisa bwana Mheshimiwa Mundigi. Senator Chelagai, very brief comments kindly. Because we are really taking a lot of time on statements. Just 2 minutes maximum.
Mr. Speaker.
And I request to be timed now. 2 minutes only.
Mr. Speaker, I know we have a speaker in the House. And I don't know why Senator Onyonga is uncomfortable.
And then
Mr. Speaker.
Senator Chelagai, I was giving some communication and still you are talking. Why are you confusing my guidance to the House? You are protected. So kindly use your 2 minutes.
I want to support statement by Senator Edwin Watenya Sifuna, the Senator of Nairobi. I think that statement is timely, Mr. Speaker. I agree that Ngong Road is not well marked, especially when you are driving through and whether renovations was done. Just the way I was asking about Mombasa Road, the lower deck. When it is raining now, Mr. Speaker, sir, it is very hard for motorists to navigate through because of poor drainage. And you remember when the expressway, Mr. Speaker, the Jubilee government, governed by the handshake, ensured that they inflated the expressway, and therefore the drainage, the design, the lighting is very poor, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, even when you look at the Langata Road interchange, it is not well marked, and you have to remember the lanes also were reduced. Not only in Nairobi City County, but across the county, Mr. Speaker. Where I come from, the contractor does the road, they don't do signages, they don't do drainage, they don't do proper markings on the road. So I don't know whether contractors disappear with it, or it is complacency of agencies that do their job. But anywhere in the country, Mr. Speaker, and this is a bad manners that is creeping into the country. A contractor does a very good road, but they don't provide for the drainage. So we need to be told the BQ, for example, of Ngong Road. What was the bill of quantities? Did it involve the markings? Did it involve the drainage, Mr. Speaker? Because we had to lose lives, Mr. Speaker, as you are aware, and our deepest condolences and empathies with the children and the families who lost their loved one in Naivasha. There are many cases of road accidents across the country. Mr. Speaker, as much as we blame the drivers, there is also poor markings and reflectors on the road, Mr. Speaker. So the necessary agencies must rise up to the occasion and ensure that any contractor that does that job, Mr. Speaker, and it's very...
The time is over. In the screen on my left-hand side, I can see Senator Okech and Senator Onyonka and Senator Buru. Of course, Senator Onyonka, you are to get the chance, but now Senator Buru Odinga has requested now that he should also speak. My senior
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the honor. Mr. Speaker, I also want to just briefly say that the contractors normally leave out drainages in making roads. And this is deliberate, Mr. Speaker, because contractors cannot work at a loss. Contractors are business people, but corruption within the government, that is the engineer, the PSS, the what, up to the top. Those are the people who eat the money for the drainages, for the ears of the road. You call them the ears of the road. You find a very beautiful road is built, but it does not have an ear, it does not have drainage, because that contractor is recovering the monies he has paid to the pockets of individuals. And that is why they don't complete and they don't do the good job that they should do. So if this government where Cherargei is a very prominent member, stops this corruption, which has been there from government to government. It is not the whatever you call handshake or what. This has been there for many, many, many years, including those years when your boss was number 2. Mr. Speaker, if they stop this, if they stop this, then our roads are going to be good. It is not the contractors, it is actually the government which eats the money from the contractors. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The statement is committed to the Standing Committee on Loans, Transportation and Housing. Next statement by Senator Veronica.